book 4 doesn't differ, right? All the books will cover the same concept. Maybe some, right, differences of statements, maybe some difference in the explanation. That's it. But beyond that, nothing else will be different. Please don't read 100 books on Indian economy GS paper 3. Not required. Please read one book, more than sufficient. But more importantly, this is what I would recommend. Read current affairs. For example, if you take, let's say, 6 questions which have appeared in UPSC mains, right, mains examination, most of the questions, around 4 to 5 questions, will be from dynamic area itself. That will be from current affairs. And if you look at the prelims question paper, civil services prelims question paper, out of, let's say, 15 questions asked, around 13 to 14 will be from current affairs only. It will be related to concepts which have appeared in the current affairs. So do not miss it, right? Have a very simple strategy. In fact, let me show you the syllabus and references. Then I'll tell you what should be the strategy. My advice to you. Now, what is the syllabus that we are going to cover? This is the list of the topics. Now, please do not start writing it down, right? You will get the PPT, and whatever PPT I'm going to use in the classroom, same PPT you will get it. Promise. Don't worry about it. You will get the same PPT. Right? Do not by heart this list, because these are the topics or the chapters that we'll be discussing in the next 5 weeks. Right? This is basically a 5-week classes. So every day we are going to have in the morning session economy only. So don't worry, these are the list of the topics that we are going to cover. Right? We are going to cover lot of topics, right? More than 20 topics, starting from basics of economics, starting from the definition of economics to infrastructure, right? What is a road, right? Why do we require roads in India, right? Why national highways are important? What is the role of the government? What is the role of the private sector? Why airports are important, right? Why there is a trade talk between India and, let's say, UAE, right? I hope you're reading newspapers. Last week there was an article regarding Indian rupee and UAE domestic currency, that is dirham, right? There is an agreement which has been signed between India as well as the UAE. What is the importance of that, right? Why government of India is promoting this kind of a trade? Why there is a need for a trade? What is exchange rate, etc., etc., etc. So don't worry, do not by heart this list. UPSC is not going to ask you the list. For example, let me know if you have come across any question like this. In the syllabus copy that has been given to you, which is the fourth topic listed? Do you think UPSC will ask you this? In the syllabus copy given to you, which is the last topic? Then they will give you 5 options. Absolutely no. Do not waste your time. Keep your preparation simple. Always make it simple. Okay. So this is the list of the topics. Have a glance through it. Do not by heart anything. We'll cover all the topics one by one. Now, coming to the question which most of you are asking, sir, what should be the reference? What should be my reference book? What should be my sources for reference? I would simply say use one static book, right? I'm pretty sure you've heard of this around 100 times by now. If your preparation has started, let's say, a couple of months ago, I'm pretty sure you've heard of this concept at least 100 times. That is, the subject is divided into two. One is static and the other one is dynamic. Am I correct? Have you kept on hearing about this? Right? Static as well as dynamic. Right? What is the basic idea? Static means what you study in the books. Dynamic means what comes in the newspaper. Very simple idea. Right? For static, I would simply recommend use one book. More than sufficient. Use one book. Not required to read 100 books. Not at all needed. Right? Do not make it difficult. Do not make it complicated. I know many of you are already afraid. Don't read multiple books. Keep it simple. Read one book. For dynamic, I would recommend read as much as possible. Right? For dynamic, read as much as possible. And many of you are asking, sir, which book should I read? Some of you might read, right? Let's say Nitin Singhania. Okay, stick to that. More than sufficient. Don't read, right? X plus Y plus Z plus Nitin Singhania. Not needed. Some of you would simply say, sir, I have got this book, old edition. Doesn't matter. Read it. One book more than sufficient. Please don't go beyond that. And for those students who will say, sir, this is the first time I'm hearing the term economics. And I know there'll be certain students, Right? Many students basically say, this is the first time I'm hearing the term economics. And this has been one of the most frightening term that I've been hearing, and I'm worried about it. If you're of that category, nothing wrong with that. There are many people. Right? In fact, when I started, I was just like you. What I would recommend is start with NCERT books then. You will have to start with fundamentals somewhere. You'll have to start with basics somewhere. Start with the NCERT books. This is a list of the books that I've given. Class 12th, class 11th, class 10th, and class 9th. Four textbooks. Four textbooks, and trust me, these are not very big books also. We have seen NCERT books, these are very, very small books. And maybe 60 pages, 70 pages like this. So 12th, 11th, 10th, and 9th. And many of you basically say, sir, in 12th class, I went to this, right, e-Pathshala website, and these are available free of cost, by the way, online. These are available free of the cost, right? You don't have to pay money if you're truly an economist at your heart. Some of the people will be like, sir, I want to, right, read books, but I don't want to pay money. Congrats. If you're of that category, just like me, NCERT books are available free of a cost, a PDF version online. Download it, right? Simply download it. So class 12th macro, 11th Indian economic development, 10th understanding economic development, and class 9th economics. These will provide you the fundamentals of economics, right? The basics of economy plus Indian economy. Right now, some of you might simply say, sir, NCERT, I don't like reading NCERT. I'll give you one more alternative. I'll give you one more option. Right? Option is, instead of reading NCERT books, have you heard of Tamil Nadu board textbooks? Very, very famous. Tamil Nadu TN board textbooks. Right? The Tamil Nadu board textbooks are also very good. Right? If you want to use, you can use them. Specifically, what kind of a Tamil Nadu board textbook? I would recommend Economics of 11th and Economics of 12th. Economics of 11th as well as Economics of 12th. But I'll tell you the concern that I generally have with the students. Compared to NCERT books, Tamil Nadu board textbooks are very bulky, very big books, right? So that would be a concern for some of you, right? If NCERT is a problem, shift to TN board. If TN board is a problem, shift to NCERT, right? Assuming your fundamentals are weak, this is for the first time that you are reading the subject of Indian economy. Right? Don't read both of them, right? Basically, it's a repetition, right? Concepts are repeated in both of them. Apart from this, current affairs, dynamic, static I've taken care of. What about dynamic then? Right? Dynamic, please develop the habit of reading newspapers. This is my strong advice to you people. Develop the habit of reading newspaper. At least one newspaper, you please read. And underline the term. The key term is at least. And I hope you understand English CSAT now. Right? At least means what? I hope you understand this. So at least one newspaper you read it. Right? For example, many of the students read The Hindu. Nothing wrong with that. Many of the students read The Hindu. Good newspaper. But tell me honestly, you tell me, don't you think some of you feel Hindu newspaper is very difficult to read and comprehend? Not for all of you, right? I'm not testing anyone here. I'm not questioning anybody's ability. That is not my duty. At least some of you will feel I'm reading this article. I've started from the top. By the time I read the second column, I don't know what I've read in the first column. In that situation, what I would simply recommend to you people is, right, alternative. Choose alternative. What is alternative now? Right? Every day we conduct a news analysis, watch news analysis, then read newspaper, or else we provide a monthly magazine. We provide a monthly magazine. Read monthly magazine, right? Make it a habit, make it a ritual. Please read a monthly magazine from first page to last page. Do not miss out anything. Sir, even that is very difficult for me. Then there is webinar. Weekly two webinars are there. One on current affairs, one on mains. Attend webinar, right? Then read sources related to that. So there are alternatives. All you need to do is pick up the best suitable fit. Simple argument. Pick up the best suitable fit for you. Then some of you will say, sir, I want to read newspaper, but I feel Hindu is very difficult. Then there is an alternative. For example, many other students, instead of Hindu, will prefer to read Indian Express. Instead of Hindu, will prefer to read Indian Express. Is there anything wrong in reading Indian Express instead of Hindu? Of course, no. Right? Because UPSC is more concerned whether you know the answer rather than what is the source of the answer. I hope you understand. Become rational always. UPSC is only concerned about whether you know the answer to the question. UPSC is not going to ask you in the interview or in the mains examination or in the preliminary examination, tell me which newspaper you read. Some of the people will say Hindu newspaper, they will get more marks. Some students will say, sir, I read Indian Express, negative marking for them. Nothing of that sort. Right? So, Indian Express, I feel language is much more easier compared to Hindu. If you feel comfortable with Indian Express, right, read that. But my advice is don't keep on jumping. Don't keep on hopping. Hopping means today you will read Hindu, tomorrow Indian Express, day after tomorrow Business Line, after that, right, let's say Business Standard. Don't keep on hopping from one newspaper to another newspaper. Stick to one newspaper. Keep reading only that newspaper every day. But in addition to this is my advice to you. In addition to any national daily, please try to make efforts and read one business newspaper. Try to read one business newspaper. And again, please understand, many of you will ask me, sir, which is the best business newspaper? There is no concept of best business newspaper. Right? Read at least, right, 5, 10, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, right? If possible, please try to read, right, one newspaper which is a business newspaper. For example, some of you will simply say, sir, money is a very important factor for me. Right? You said read a business newspaper, I will read it, but I don't want to pay extra money for it. Fair enough. I understand, right? There are a lot of compulsions. Some of the people don't like to pay money. Some people, right, will simply say, I don't want to pay money. Fair enough. In that case, right, have you heard of a Financial Express newspaper? There's a newspaper by the name of Financial Express. This newspaper is available free of a cost online. It is available free of a cost online. You can check it later. All you need to do is get registered. That's it. It is available free of a cost. Use it. So ultimately, please understand, resources are available. Resources are available to you. It is entirely up to you how to use the resources, to what extent you should use the resources. But please use the resources. Do not ignore current affairs. This is my first class to you people. I'm saying this. Trust me, when I'm finishing up the 24th class, I will tell you the same thing. Do not ignore current affairs. Please read current affairs. Done? Now, question is, sir, how? The syllabus is so vast. Every day you are asking me to read current affairs. How do I consolidate everything? How do I understand everything? How do I consolidate everything? It becomes very difficult for me. Right? Very valid. Then this would be the strategy that I would recommend to you people. If you feel this is rational, use it. If you feel this is not useful, irrational, you devise your own strategy. Okay, now what is the strategy? Point number one, right? Attend the classes, listen to the classes carefully. Listening is more important. Listen to the classes carefully. Now, after the class is over, use any textbook, because whatever I discuss, some part of it will be from textbook and some part will be from current affairs. Wherever it is current affairs, I'll tell you, do not search for this in the textbook. You will not get it, right? Don't waste your time. I will only tell you, right? Listen to the class very carefully, then read the book. Read the book, consolidate. Second important point, very important, revise. Most of the students do not do the second, and most of the students do not do the first as well as second. They'll be like, either I will do all of them or I will do none of them. Right? So do all of them. That is better. Revise. Revise. As much as possible, revise. Now, many of the students will ask, sir, how do I revise? After how many days should I revise? There is no unified formula for this. There is no universal formula for this. what I would recommend is, for a fact, you can lie to others, but you will know for yourself what is my retention capacity, for how many days my memory can hold this concept. If your mind says, right, you can hold this memory for only 5 days, then revise after 5 days. If your mind says you can hold this memory for 15 days, revise after 15 days. Entirely it's subjective, it is entirely up to you. But what I would recommend is, please revise. Now here also, in revision, many of the students will ask, should I read everything all the time? Should I keep on reading everything all the time? Absolutely no. What I would recommend is, when you are revising, right, for the first time, please try to prepare mind maps. This is your job. Please try to prepare mind map. Right? Many of you will ask me, sir, what do you mean by mind map? Mind map in simple is nothing but a picture, a representation. Right? A picture or a representation. Making notes in the form of a mind map, you'll be able to remember, revise it easily for a longer duration. It becomes easier for you to revise. In fact, after the chapter is over, after the first chapter is over, I will tell you how to prepare a mind map. I'll prepare one mind map in the classroom itself and I'll show it to you. But please understand, it is your job, right? Do this as per your requirement. Please do this, right? After each of the chapter is over, then try revising. If it is working out for you, continue. If it doesn't work for you, you have a different method to revise, go ahead with that. I don't have any problem. Please go ahead with that. Third important point, current affairs. Third important point, current affairs. Very, very important. Right? Now, this is my advice to you. Whenever you read an article, please pick up the article and make very, very short notes on the article. Maximum, let's say 5 points, 6 points. Maximum, more than sufficient. But how do you remember these points, right? How do you keep on, right, revising all of these current affairs also? What I would say is, if you come across a current affairs article regarding, let's say, India UAE, India UAE, right? That is domestic currency trade agreement. I'm writing DCU, don't worry. Domestic currency trade agreement. Now, automatically, you'll have to take this article, list it under international trade. Simple. List it under international trade. I'm talking about economy, I'll stick to economics. International trade. Now, in international trade, you will study basic concepts. By the way, basic concepts we will discuss. What is exchange rate? Why trade agreements are signed? What is the advantage of the trade agreement? Has India been successful in terms of right signing these trade agreements, etc.? We will have a discussion regarding all of that. So whatever note you make, let's say 5 pointer, 6 pointer on this article, it should be there in international trade chapter for you. It should be there in that particular chapter. And when you make mind map, right, please understand, on one side you can write static information and on the other side you can write current affairs. In fact, again, have patience. Many of you are asking how to make mind maps. I'll show it. Have patience. Let me cover one chapter. Without covering any of the chapters, how can I show you how to make a mind map? I can make a mind map because I've been teaching the same chapters, same concepts, although updating current affairs. I know what comes in which chapter. But if I suddenly throw a mind map at you people now for chapter, let's say inflation, for the chapter of taxation, and many of you will feel, everything is new. Everything is something that I don't know. So let me not attend the classes at all. Right? Don't do that. You will understand. I'll show you how to prepare a mind map. Have patience. So current affairs, whenever you read it, right, place it as per the chapters, right? And when you revise the chapters, automatically you're also revising current affairs. Can I give you one more example? How many of you have read article regarding the Committee on Statistics? Committee on Statistics. This article appeared in Hindu newspaper today. I'm sorry, yesterday. Today's Hindu newspaper, nothing related to Indian economy. Nothing related to Indian economy in today's Hindu newspaper. Right? The Committee on Statistics, the Standing Committee on Statistics, yesterday's Hindu newspaper. In one of the pages, left side, there is a very long column, right, on this article. You can check it if you have not read it. You can check it. Right, this committee on statistics. Now, this is important. I hope you understand. This is important, right? Because one of the chapter that we are going to discuss in this week is concept of GDP calculation. We'll be discussing inflation. So this committee is important related to these kind of chapters. So you will have to take care of this article, make 4 to 5 points, list it under national income chapter or let's say inflation chapter. So that when you revise the chapter of inflation, automatically you're also revising right at the current affairs. This would be my recommendation to you. This would be my recommendation. Fourth one, previous year questions, PYQs. Previous year questions, right? Please make an observation, right? Solve previous year questions. We will do that in the classroom, but I would recommend you also make it a habit to solve previous year questions. Not only the prelims, even for mains. Not just for the prelims, even for the mains, I would recommend make it a habit to solve these kind of questions. For example, those who have seen the previous year questions, specifically this year's civil services preliminary examination, please tell me, don't you think, let's say for a subject of Indian economy, don't you think the pattern has changed? Let me know. Don't you think the pattern has changed? What do you mean by pattern? The kind of options they are giving now, it is not easy. I'm only saying, right? The kind of options they are giving, it is not easy, right? What do you mean by this? Until last year, there was a trick. The trick was elimination method. The trick was elimination method and it was easier. Let's say there are three statements which are given to you, 1, 2 and 3. Then they'll simply start playing, only one is correct. 1 and 2 are correct, right? 1 and 3 are correct. Only, right, 2 and 3 are correct. If this is the kind of option which is given, we would simply teach the student, look at the statement 1. If the statement 1 is wrong, then option A, B and C will be eliminated. Then you can directly go to option D. Right? This was the trick that we used to simply ask the students to follow. But if you have seen the syllabus, I'm sorry, the option pattern that is given now, this is out of syllabus now. This is out of the window. What UPSC has done, cleverly now, they're not giving this. They're saying only one statement is correct. Only two statements are correct. Only three statements are correct. None of the statements are correct, which means you cannot use elimination method. Elimination method itself has been eliminated by UPSC. Now you will have to know the concepts. You will have to be right having a very good clarity regarding the static information as well as the current affairs. Only then you will be able to solve these kind of questions. Right? That is the change in the pattern. But how will you understand this? If you have not seen the previous year question papers, you will never understand it. So that's the reason. Solve previous year question papers, both prelims as well as mains. As many as possible, do it. And fifth one is, right, answer writing. Answer writing. This would be my fifth and the final point regarding the strategy for Indian economy. Answer writing practice. Answer writing practice basically means mains answer writing. I'm not worried about prelims because, right, trust me when I say this. Many of the students, right, falter at prelims because they believe that prelims is the toughest. No, you don't have a clue regarding it. Mains is much more tougher compared to prelims. Mains is much more tougher, right? Why? In prelims, right, although I do understand that is a first hurdle, it's a first barricade, right? Yes, prelims is important. I'm not saying ignore prelims. But don't you think compared to remembering concept and simply rounding off whether A is correct or B is correct like this, where you're supposed to write 150 words, 250 words, etc., that is much more difficult. Let me know. The second one is much more difficult because you're supposed to write 150 words, 250 words. Many of the times you can write an essay on this topic, but they will ask you only 250. Many of the times you look at the question and keep on wondering, scratching your head, what is the question all about? I don't even know one term in the question. You are supposed to write 150 words. That is the reason mains answer writing is the toughest, right? So what I would recommend is, please start practicing. Start practicing, right, sir? How do I practice it? Take up one editorial, right? Either it has appeared in Hindu newspaper or in any newspaper, doesn't matter. Take up one editorial, right? Let's say it is about, right? Let's say Indian power. For example, today's Hindu editorial is about Indian power, right? Although not very relevant to UPSC, but again, some concepts are there, some areas are important for UPSC. So read that article, frame a question, try to see if you can write a 200 very good words, 250 very good words in form of sentences which make perfect sense. I hope you understand all the 3 points are important. 250 good words in form of sentences which make perfect sense, right? That is important, right? Why? I'm a product of universities in India. You are the product of universities in India. I know, and you also know, how do we write university papers, correct? How we write university papers, all of us know. If the question is on, let's say, inflation, right, your starting statement will be inflation is there in India. You know, inflation, it happens in India. You know, inflation has been there in the past also. You know, inflation is happening now also. Inflation, 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 inflation. Out of 250 words, 50 words will be inflation only. So what I would recommend is, this is a first class, that's the reason I'm telling you all of this. Practice, right? More you practice, automatically you'll become perfect over a period of time. Okay, done. So this is my advice to you. 5 point strategy: listen to the class, then read the book, revise it. What I would recommend is prepare mind maps for the revision, right? In tomorrow's class, I'll show you, based on today's class, how can you make a mind map. Tomorrow I'll show it to you, don't worry. Third, update current affairs. And what I would recommend is, update current affairs chapter wise, right? Make it chapter wise, make it topic wise, so that you know the sequence of the current affairs, you know which chapter, which current affairs is relevant for you. Then previous year questions, try to solve them. That will give you certain confidence regarding, okay, what we are studying in the classroom, it is relevant. What we are discussing, it is correct. And finally, answer writing. As much as possible, right? Please start practicing answer writing. Done? Okay. So with this caveat, let me start with the discussion. Now I'm going to start a discussion. Many of you, right, might simply say, "Arey, right, economics is this much." No, I'm going to start the first chapter now. And some of you are asking, "Sir, I'm writing exam then in this year, that year, etc., etc. How much should be the current affairs?" Generally, what we would say is 12 months prior to the exams. 12 months prior to the exams. Right? I would say this is a safe bet. Safe bet. Will UPSC strictly pick up within 12 months from the date of exams? Not necessary. I hope you understand. It's not necessary, because there is one funny statement about UPSC. One funny statement. In fact, I'll give you two. One is UPSC, they'll say, long form of UPSC is Unpredictable Public Service Commission. Right? They'll simply say it is not Union Public Service Commission, Unpredictable Public Service Commission. And second, right, a funny statement about UPSC, they'll say, what is the syllabus for UPSC? Anything, right, on the earth, under the earth, and above the sun, everything is the syllabus. Right? Everything is a syllabus. Right? UPSC will simply say, we'll ask you something about interior of earth. Can you say out of syllabus in the class? Can you stand up in the hall and say, this is out of syllabus? Absolutely no. Right? They will ask you something which is happening in France. Many of you simply say, sir, I'm an Indian. Why should I be worried about France? What is happening? UPSC says, current affairs, international relation. You cannot argue. You'll have to simply say, okay, either you know it or you don't know it. Okay, let's start. Introduction to economics. Okay, introduction to economics. Now, what we'll be covering? What areas we'll be covering in this chapter? Definition of economics. Let me start with the definition. Although UPSC is not going to ask that, don't worry. Then, what is microeconomics and macroeconomics? how economics has evolved over a period of time. Four factors of production: law of demand and supply, market equilibrium, types of goods, elasticities, savings, investment, and capital formation. And after all of this is done, we will take up questions which have appeared in both prelims as well as mains in the last couple of years, and we will have a discussion. We will solve the questions, don't worry. Now, let me start. What is the definition of economics? And should you by heart this definition? Not necessary. But after 5 weeks are over, if I ask you, what do you mean by economics? You should not have any doubt in your mind as to what you have read. So, the definition of economics, thousands of definitions are there. Only one definition sufficient. It is the science which deals with human behavior in relation to scarce means and ends. I'll explain this, don't worry. Right? It is a science which deals with human behavior in relation to scarce means and ends. What do you mean by this? There's a term called as resource. Right? There's a term in economics called as resource. What do you mean by resource? Resource is any input that we use. Any input that we use to manufacture or to produce either a good or a service. For example, let me start. This will be a best friend for these classes. All of you see there is a product in my hand, right? Let me know. Can all of you see there is a product in my hand? Bottle, flask, by the way. Now, is it okay if I say to manufacture this flask or bottle, you require inputs, you require resources. Best example, you will require steel. Now, please tell me the amount of steel that we have. Anybody who says the amount of steel is unlimited in nature? Of course, I know steel you will not directly get in nature. You will get iron ore, you will purify it, and then you will get steel. I know that, right? Because some of the students will start correcting me. Sir, you are wrong. Steel you will not get in earth. Right? I know. Right? So understand the point here. All of you will agree the iron ore that we get, it is limited. So can I say resources that we have access to are limited. It is not unlimited. These are limited. Now the question is, how do we allocate, how do we utilize the resources to achieve certain objective? For example, if I'm a manufacturer of a bottle, what resource I have is limited. Now question is, how do I allocate the resources? How do I utilize the resources to achieve an objective? What is objective? Produce the flask, sell it in the market, and earn profit. The study of this is called as economics. Simple. The study, the behavioral study here, it is called as economics. Any difficulty in understanding the definition? I'll give you one more example. I believe, don't worry, even if it is wrong. I believe because you are attending the morning class, many of you could be employees. Many of you could be working for a company. If not, don't worry, nothing wrong with that. Now, if you're working for a company, at the end of the month, let's say first of, let's say the next month, you will receive salary. Correct? Anybody who says, sir, right, I'm working for a company, but the company is not paying salary, then it is time for you to switch to another company. They are abusing you. It is forced labor. So on the first of next month, you will receive salary. Now, when you receive salary, is it okay if I say money that you have, it is limited? Anybody who says, sir, I get salary, but it is unlimited. That is, whenever I want, they will give me salary. If there is any company like that, please do let me know. I want to shift. Please do let me know. So, right, the salary that you get, it's a money. Money is a resource. It is limited. Now, how do we utilize this money for various purposes? For example, many of you would have this kind of a practice. Once you get salary, you will start making calculations like this. Start making calculation. This month, I will pay 10,000 rupees rent, 5,000 rupees petrol, right? 5,000 rupees for cloth, right? Maybe 100 rupees for UPSC, right? Book, etc. Now, what you are doing here? Please do let me know. What are you doing here? You have a resource. Are you not allocating the resources here? I hope you understand. You have resources. Are you not allocating the resources? Of course, yes. Right? Some of you will simply say, no, sir, I don't do all of this. Right? This is not for me. I don't do all of this. Then I'm pretty sure you will be doing one more example. That is, first of right next month, you will receive salary. Early morning, you will get a message in your mobile saying that your account has been credited with the salary of so much. You will become very happy. And on the first of that day, right, or let's say on the first of that month, or second of that month, third of that month, or even fifth of this month or next month, you'll behave as if you are Mr. Mukesh Ambani. You'll behave as if you're Mr. Mukesh Ambani, right? You're feeling very sad. You don't want to prepare food. Let's go outside. Let's eat outside, right? You don't feel like right sitting and studying for UPSC. You'll say Oppenheimer is there. Oppenheimer movie is there. Let's go to IMAX. Not even normal theater. Let's go to IMAX. Right? You're feeling like traveling. Let's book Ola. But very soon you will realize this is not sustainable, right? Because whenever you keep on swiping the card, right, using the UPI to make a payment, very soon you will realize the amount of money that you have in your account is getting depleted very fast. Money is getting over very fast. It took a 1 month time period for money to come into your account. It will take 5 days to become half of it. Suddenly you will realize, no, this is not sustainable. Now you will become economist. How? You look at the amount of salary or the amount of money that is left out in the account. Now you will start making calculations. Can I keep watching movies on IMAX? Not possible. Right? Next week, I will not go to IMAX. Even if I go to theater, no popcorn henceforth. Although the PVR has reduced the popcorn prices, I don't want to purchase popcorn. I'll come home, right, make a 2 minutes Maggie and eat it in the home at 15 rupees rather than paying 200 rupees at PVR. Right? Rather than traveling via Ola, right, rather than taking Ola cab, now I want to travel by metro. Please tell me, what are you doing here? Right? Don't you think now you have realized that resources that you have are limited, and now you want to use the resources for achieving certain objectives, that is achieving certain ends. This is basically the concept of economics. You are an economist, you will follow this. I'm an economist, your parents are economists, because at one or the other point of time we would have done this calculation, right? For example, UPSC aspirants, most of the times UPSC aspirants will use this concept of economics this way. You will go to the market, you want to purchase a book related to, right, let's say UPSC preparation only. You will turn the book, look at the price tag of the book, 700 rupees, 800 rupees, 900 rupees. You will become true economist at that point of time. What? You look at the price of the book 900, then you'll start making calculations in your mind. Can I get a Xerox copy of this book in the market? If I can get Xerox copy, right, let's say 500 pages, hardly I'll pay 150 rupees for this book, Xerox to version in the market. Some of you will take it to the next level. You will search, right, can I get PDF copy of this free of a cost, free download online? I will not have to pay anything. Right? Tell me, what are you doing? You know the resource that you people have is basically limited. You're trying to utilize, right? You're trying to utilize the resources to achieve certain objectives. That is the end here. Any problem with the definition? Any problem with the definition? It is the science which deals with human behavior in relation to scarce means. Scarce means are nothing but scarce resources. Scarce means limited. Scarce is nothing but limited. So the resources are limited. You want to use them to achieve objectives. That is the ends here. That is the definition of economics. Beyond that, do not by heart anything here. UPSC is not going to ask you 5 definition of economics. Right? Please do let me know. Please do let me know if anywhere in the past, in the last 10 years, where UPSC has asked, write 5 definitions of economics in 150 words. UPSC is not going to ask, don't waste your time. Now, economics is generally divided into 2 parts, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Micro and macro. Now, what is the basic idea of a micro and a macro? Let me explain. Let me start with an example here. Now, before I go forward, many of you start asking me, sir, there is a term called as economy, and you are using the term economics. Is there any difference? Of course, yes. Apart from spelling, there is a difference. I'll tell you that only now. The term economy refers to a system. It refers to a system. For example, very often you'll come across the term Indian economy, right? USA economy, UK economy. What are they referring to? They are referring to certain system. Indian economy would simply mean, right, what is happening in India. Australian economy, right, that would speak about what is happening in Australia. American economy, what is happening in the country America in terms of economics. So, economy refers to a system. Economics refers to a subject study. It refers to a subject study, right? A subject. It is a subject. Economics is a subject. Any problem in understanding the difference between economy and economics? Now, let me go to the point here. Economy, whenever you talk about economy, for example, let's say Indian economy. Indian economy, who are the participants in the Indian economy? Who is participating in the Indian economy? We can generally divide them into three parts. Some of the books will write it four, but I'll tell you why they will do that. The three components, three participants in the economy are: one, government. Government. It could be central government, state government, whatever government, don't worry, government. Second is companies. Second is companies. I'm writing companies. Some books will write it as firms. Right? I'm using the term company. They will also use the term firms. Third one is households. Third one is households. That is you, me, right? Your parents, my parents, neighbors, right? Nosy relatives, etc. etc. All of them will come in the households. I said there are three components, three stakeholders in the economy. And I also said some of the books will write it as four, right? The fourth one is simple. They will write central banker. They will write central banker. For example, who is the central banker in India? Who is the central banker of India? Reserve Bank of India. Have you heard of this? There is a very important authority, RBI. RBI is a central banker. So I'm writing central banker as a part of the government. Some of the books will write it separately as the fourth participant, fourth stakeholder. Now, beyond this, nobody else is left out. Nobody else is left out. Don't try to find. Waste of your time. Economists generally divide the whole economy into three components or four components accordingly. It is simply the government. Second one is the companies or firms. Third one is households. Now, what is the importance of all of this? Follow this very carefully. If I am talking about microeconomics, if I talk about microeconomics, I will not be covering all of them. I'll be covering individual units within them. I'll repeat the statement. If I talk about microeconomics, if I'm studying microeconomics, individual units is the focus of my study. For example, imagine out of all the companies in India, out of all the companies in India, I will study only one company. Study in the sense what? Right? Let's say I will focus on Tata company. Now, in microeconomics, what I'll do is how much is the production done by Tata company? What kind of goods are produced by this company? Goods or services? How many employees are working in the company owned by Tata? Simple, right? My focus of study is individual unit. My focus of study is not the total, not all of them. My focus is only on individual unit. So whenever you're talking about individual units in the economy, this is called as a microeconomics. This is called as a microeconomics. And let me show a picture to you just to make you understand much more easier. It is like using a magnifying glass. It is like using a magnifying glass over the whole of Indian economy. When you use a magnifying glass, don't you think you cannot see the whole economy? You can see only part of it. All of you will agree? Anybody has a difficulty, please do let me know right now. When you use a magnifying glass over, let's say, individuals, that is the households, the companies, the government, etc., if you use a magnifying glass, can you see all of them? No. You'll be able to see maybe one company. You will be able to see, let's say, one house. That is the basic idea of a microeconomics. What about macroeconomics? Right? And look at the picture that I've used here, binoculars. I'm using a picture of binoculars for representing macroeconomics. And if you use a binocular, right, look at, let's say, a house, a company, and a government. Can you see all of them? Let me know. Can you see all of them? All of them in the sense, macroeconomics focuses on all the components, all the units in the economy, right? Aggregates. They will use the term aggregates. In case of macro, it is aggregates. In case of a micro, it is individuals. That is the basic difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. In microeconomics, let's say I will study one company. Let's say I will study, right, only one house, etc. Whereas in case of macroeconomics, I will study all the companies in India, how much are they producing? All the houses in India, how many people are working in the market? How much is the total demand for goods? How much is the supply of the goods in the market? How much is the total income generated in the economy? That is the basic difference between micro and macroeconomics. And some of the students are saying, sir, please write the differences in the slide. My dear, differences are there in the slide. Please have a look at it. And I know many books have given 20 differences, 50 differences between micro and macro. Don't by heart, UPSC is not going to ask you to that extent. Right? Here is a tip from my side, advice to you. I know many of you will not follow it, but anyways, I'll tell you. Do not try to read everything in Indian economy in detail. This is my sincere advice. Do not try to read everything in detail in Indian economy. Why? People do, right, bachelor's degree on it, BCom, then they will do MCom, then they will do PhD, then they'll write a very big thesis. You don't do that. Not required. Why? Objective is you are preparing for UPSC. You should be able to answer questions which are asked in UPSC. For that, right, have a sufficient knowledge about the concepts, but do not do a PhD degree on these concepts. This is my sincere advice to you. Because economics, right, people study for many, many years. Many, many years. Right? So you don't have to do that. Right? I hope you understand. You don't have to do that. If you do that for economics, you'll have to do that for polity also. You'll have to do that for right, geography also. You will take 1 year to read economics, another year to read geography, one more year to read polity, one more year to read history. Then your UPSC preparation will become a 5-year plan. If that is the objective, then do it. Right? So argument is simple. Keep it simple. Make your strategy simple. Make your preparation simple. Now, there are questions, right? Some of the students are asking, what do you mean by aggregate? Aggregate simply means total. Aggregates simply means total, right? What is the total? Total demand for goods and services. What is the total supply of goods and services? That is the basic idea of a macroeconomics. So one is a micro, another one is a macro. In micro, we are dealing with individual units. For example, individual house, individual company. How much is the total employment in this company? How many people in the house are working? How much income they are earning? What kind of goods they are demanding? Whereas in macroeconomics, total economy, all the houses in India, right? How many people are working in all the houses? How much total income are they earning, etc., etc., etc. So macroeconomics, sum total always aggregates. Microeconomics, it is always individual units. Any difficulty? Any difficulty, right? So let me go to the next concept. And if you have any kind of difficulties, please do let me know, right? Don't worry. I will not scold. I will not shout, nothing, right? Let's make it simple. Now, next concept is four factors of production. Right? Next is the idea of four factors of production. Now, what is this argument of four factors of production? Whenever you want to manufacture, whenever you want to produce, you will require resources. You will require inputs. All of you will agree with my statement? Whenever you want to manufacture, you want to produce, you will require certain resources, you will require certain inputs. Now, what we do in economics is, whatever resources that you require, we will classify them under four heads. Very simple. I'll repeat it again. Whatever resources you require, we will classify them, we will divide them under four heads, under four types. And these four types are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Is it okay? I'll repeat it. Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Right? These are the four, right, classifications of four types where the resources or the inputs that are needed are divided into. Now let's look at each one of them. First one is land. How do you define land? In economics, how do you define a land? Right? Under microeconomics, they say that land is nothing but which is naturally available to us. Land is nothing but which is naturally available to us. For example, right, let's say you want to cultivate, you want to become a farmer. So you want to cultivate, you want to become a farmer means you will require certain piece of land. Now, don't you think that piece of land, it is naturally available to you? You are not going to produce that piece of land. It is already available in nature to you. What about, right? What about the raw material in the form of, let's say, iron ore, aluminum ore, diamonds? Of course, don't say sir, lab grown diamonds, diamonds which are available in earth, etc. So don't you think some resources will be available in nature itself? Some resources will be available in nature itself, naturally occurring. Such resources are collectively referred to as land. Second one is labor. Labor means employees, people. The people who are used for producing goods or producing services. That is the second factor of production. Third one is capital. Third one is the term capital. Many of the students misunderstand the term capital here because some of the books say capital is money. But please understand, money cannot be used directly to produce goods. Right? Let me show you a simple example. This is money. All of you will agree? Right? Anybody says, sir, what you're holding is not money? Money. And before you ask, sir, why 100 rupee? Right? I am poor, limited resources. So this is money. Please tell me, can you directly convert this money into this bottle? Think of it. Can you convert this money into bottle? No. Right? So books say capital means money. No, my dear. Capital means anything that is produced by humans. Capital is anything that is produced by humans. For example, will right, understand this? Will the people, will the humans use this money to purchase a machine? Now, can I use this machine to produce this bottle? Anybody has a problem with this? I will use this 100 rupee to purchase a machine. Now I will use the machine to manufacture the bottle. So what is capital here? Capital is the machine. Capital is not money. Capital is a machine. I will use this 100 rupee, right? Set up a manufacturing facility. I'll construct a manufacturing facility, infrastructure, right? I will use this infrastructure to produce the goods, produce the services, right? That is capital, right? So I hope you understand this. Capital, many of the books say it is simply money. No, capital is something that has been produced by us, produced by humans. But what is important? We will use this capital to produce goods and services in the market. right? That is the third one, capital. And the fourth one, entrepreneurship. Fourth one is, right, the entrepreneurship. What is the entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship simply refers to the person who will start, right, the business. Who will start the business? And please understand this, entrepreneur is the one who is going to take a higher amount of a risk, because the entrepreneur means simply the one who will start the company, who will start the business. Now, don't you think this this entrepreneur is taking certain amount of risk, is making investment in the market, is putting together, right, machinery, is putting together labor, is putting together raw material. Now this entrepreneur is the one who has started the business. So again, please understand, all the inputs that are needed for producing goods and services can be divided into four components. I'll repeat it again. All the inputs or resources which are required to produce goods and services can be divided into four types. These four are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Right? Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. And because there are four inputs, four resources, these are collectively referred to as four factors of production. These are referred to as four factors of production. FOP, four factors of production. Right? So these four are land. Land is anything that is naturally available to us. For example, piece of earth, that is land. Minerals which are available, etc. Then it is labor, right? Labor is nothing but, right, basically the physical, right? That is people who are used for doing the work. Third one is a capital. Capital refers to anything that is manufactured by us. I repeat, capital is anything that is manufactured by us. Many of you said, sir, you will require money. My dear, please understand. To purchase minerals also you will require money. I hope you understand my point. To purchase labor also you will require money. Right? But how capital is different from labor then? Right? When I say, right, capital means money is used to purchase machinery. Machinery becomes capital. Some of the students argued, or basically put the comment, but sir, money is very important here. Money is required. Then, my dear, for labor, money is not required. Think of it. For getting labor, is money required? Of course, yes. Then what is the difference between labor and capital then? There also money is there. Here also money is there. Right? Understand the difference. So in capital, money is used to purchase machinery. Who is manufacturing machinery? We are manufacturing machinery. That's the reason I said capital is something that we have produced, which we will use for further production, which we are going to use to produce other things. For example, right, let's say manufacturing facility. Is it useful to produce other goods or not? Machines. Are we going to use the machines to produce other goods or not? Of course, yes. That is basically capital. Okay. And finally, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship simply means, right? Entrepreneurship simply means the person who will start the company. The person who will set up the company, start the business. Right? For example, if I today, right, let's say I have 15 lakh rupees, hypothetical number, I will basically invest in, right, purchasing machinery. I will hire two people, right? I will purchase a certain land on rental basis. So can I call myself as the owner of the company, the entrepreneur here? Of course, yes. So the one who will put together land, labor, and capital is referred to as entrepreneur. Right? So these are the four factors of production. Please remember this. Okay? Please remember this. Now, what is more important related to factors of production? Understand this carefully. Step one, here is a company, right? The company will use the labor which will be provided by the house. I repeat, the company will be using labor from house, right? That is, employees will come from houses. That is step one. And the service that is provided by the labor, service that is provided by the labor right? I'll call this as factor input. Okay, I'll call this as a factor input. Now, step 2, the company has used the labor services. Company has used the labor services. Now, company will pay wages of 100 rupees to the labor. The company will pay 100 rupee wage, right, to the labor. Now, understand this very carefully. The labor will provide the service. Company will pay wage or salary. Don't worry about it. Of 100 rupee. Now, please tell me, is it okay if I say this 100 rupee is expenditure incurred by the company? Let me know. Is it okay if I say this wages is, that is 100 rupee, is the expenditure incurred by the company? Anybody has difficulty in this? Anybody has difficulty in this? Please do let me know. Right? And this 100 rupee, can I also say it is the income earned by the labor? It's very simple idea, by the way. Right? 100 rupee is the wages paid by the company. It is the cost or the expenditure incurred by the company. And right, the labor will earn 100 rupee, which means 100 rupee is the income earned by labor. So I'll start using technical terms now. The 100 rupee is factor cost for the company. Any problem with the term factor cost? Let me know now. 100 rupee is the factor cost for the company. And 100 rupee is the factor income for labor. Can I go forward? Sir, difficult. Explain again. My dear, imagine you are the employee. You will go to a software company. You will provide your services to the software company. Any problem? Any problem? Any difficulty in understanding this? You are a software engineer. You will go to the company. You will provide your labor services to the software company. Right? Step number 1. Step number 2. After the month is over, let's say 1st of August now, right? The company will pay salary to you. Let's say 1 lakh rupees. Right? 1 lakh rupees salary will be paid to you. Now understand the logic here. Can I say that 1 lakh rupees salary is expenditure for the software company? Any problem in understanding this? It is expenditure. Expenditure means money spent. It is expenditure, right, by the company. I will call this as factor cost. I will call this as a factor cost. And some of you, please follow the classroom. Follow, focus, right? You are asking me why it is called as factor cost. My dear, labor is one of the factor of production or not? Tell me now. Just now we have discussed. It's not even been half an hour. Labor, is it a type of factor of production or not? So labor is a type of factor of production. On this factor of production, company is paying money. Company is incurring expenditure. Because this is factor of production, expenditure is incurred. Can I call it as factor cost? At least now, is the logic okay with all of you? Why this is called as a factor cost? It is one of the factors of production. Company is spending money for this factor cost. And on the other side, you are the labor. You are earning income. You are a factor, by the way. You are one of the factor of production. You are earning income. Can I call this as factor income? For you, that 1 lakh rupee, right, that factor income, that is your factor income. Any difficulty in understanding why we call it as a factor cost or factor income? But more importantly, make an observation. Can I say factor cost is equal to factor income? Let me know. Can I say factor cost is equal to factor income? Any difficulty here? Right? Can I give you one more example? Can I give you one more example? Right? Understand this. You will purchase capital in the market. You will purchase capital, right? You will purchase a machinery. When you purchase machinery, you will have to pay certain amount of money for this. Any difficulty here? Anybody who says, sir, I will purchase a machine, but why should I pay money? Anybody is going to ask me that kind of a question? You are a manufacturer. Let's take a simple example. You want to manufacture this bottle, but for manufacturing this bottle, you will purchase a machine. And when you purchase machine, will you pay money for it? Of course, yes, you'll have to pay money for it. So for the company, the money on the machine, it is an expenditure. But for somebody else who has sold the machine, let's say there is one more company which has sold the machine, that amount that you pay will become income for them. Any difficulty here? Any difficulty? It's a very basic idea. Transaction is happening. That's it. Right? So this term, the money that you pay to purchase a machine, purchase capital, it is called as interest. It is collectively referred to as interest. And the other company which will sell the machine to you, which will receive payment, right? It is factor income, interest for them. What about land? Imagine you will take a land for rental basis. You want to produce, you want to manufacture something, you will take land on rental basis. You will have to pay money for this. For company, it is rent, which is a factor cost. And right, the owner of the land who is providing the land to you, it is a factor income for the owner. Right? So for the land, please remember, factor cost is rent, factor income is also rent. For labor, factor cost is wages and factor income is again wages. For capital, factor cost is interest, factor income is interest. Finally, entrepreneurship. Finally, entrepreneurship. Now, please understand, some of you are taking this. Some of you are taking this term interest and you're going to banking sector. Don't complicate it. Do not complicate it. Right? Do not take this term interest and go to the banking. Right? You're saying, sir, bank loan. My dear, don't complicate it. Simple idea. Right? Imagine here is the company A. They will purchase a machine. Is it capital? Please do let me know. Here is company A. They will purchase machine. And when they purchase a machine from, let's say, company B, they will pay, let's say, 1 lakh rupees. They will pay 1 lakh rupees. This 1 lakh rupees, can I say it is a factor cost for company A? At least now answer. Can I say this 1 lakh rupee, it is a factor cost for company A? Now, can I also say 1 lakh rupee is a factor income for company B? Any difficulty here? This 1 lakh rupee, we will use the term interest. Simple. To acquire capital, whatever cost is incurred by the company, we will call it as interest. Right? I hope you understand at least now here. Now, finally, come to the last one. Before I tell you, right, what is the reason here, let me ask you a very simple question. Today, right after the class is over, hypothetically, by the way, don't criticize me. Right, today after the class is over, some of you will say, "Arey, economics is difficult. I'm not able to understand. Chhod do, leave economics." Right, economics is important, so I cannot, again, hypothetically, I cannot get through UPSC. Rather than this, let's start a business. Okay, rather than this, let's start a business. So you will invest money, start a business, and after 1 year, the company makes a profit. Simple question now. Who should take the profits? Who should get the profits earned by the company? Right? All of you will agree? The one who has started should get the profit. The owner should get the profit. Is the logic okay with all of you? Owner should get the profit. And in this example, you are the owner of the company. So who should take all of these profits? You should take all of these profits. Now, please tell me, is the logic okay here? For the entrepreneur, the owner of the company, right? The income for the entrepreneur is the profit earned by the company. It is the profit earned by the company. And the argument is, if the company makes a profit, the company is given to you. Sorry, the profits are given to you. Can I say this is a very simple transaction? Here is a company. company's profits are taken by you. That is the owner of the company. Can I say this profit is nothing but factor cost for the company? Let me know. This profit is nothing but factor cost for the company, and for the owner, this profit is factor income. Any difficulty in understanding this? The profits owned by the company should belong to the owner, right? It should belong to the owner. The owner should take away the profit. So if the profits are given by the company to the owner, it becomes expenditure, cost incurred by the company, factor cost. And on the other side, for owner, it is an income. It is a factor income. Right? Can I go forward? Can I go forward here? Components of land. My dear, natural land that is available. Minerals that are available. Already it is there in the slide. Have I not written examples for every one of them? Already it is there in the slide. Please make observations when I'm discussing. Okay? Okay. Profit. My dear, if the company earns a profit, who should take the profit? Simple question to all of you. Who should get the profits? The owner should get the profit. At least this is clear. Anybody who says no, sir, owner should not get the profit. Entrepreneur, owner should get the profit. Point number 2. Now, why I'm writing profit as a cost for the company and profit as an income for the owner? Reason is simple. Don't you think one of the factors of production is entrepreneurship? Let me know. One of the factors of production is entrepreneurship. Means one of the inputs that we require to produce goods or services is entrepreneurship. Now, why is entrepreneur getting involved? What is the objective of a owner of a company? Entrepreneur, to earn profit. So company by the way, company uses the services of entrepreneur. I repeat, company uses the services of entrepreneur. For this, company has to pay certain income to the entrepreneur. All of you agree? Company uses the services of entrepreneur. So company has to pay certain income to the entrepreneur. What is the income here? Profit. Whatever profit is earned by the company will be paid to the entrepreneur. And when a company pays the profit to the entrepreneur, can I say, because the company is paying profits to the entrepreneur, it is a factor cost for the company. At least now, is it okay? It is a factor cost for the company. But for the entrepreneur, it is a income. Factor income. Right? Remember this. Again, we will be using this. Right? Sir, when you will be using this? When I take up GDP calculation. And when I take up GDP calculation, suddenly I'll tell you, right? Factor cost is calculated like this. Don't ask me what is factor cost. I hope you understand. Right? In GDP calculation, I'll directly say factor cost method. We will use it like this to calculate GDP. There, some students will type, what is a factor here? What is factor cost here? Right? Revise, repeat. That is your duty, my dear. Please keep on revising. Okay? Now, let me go forward. Couple of students were asking, sir, what is capitalism? Discuss types of economies. Let me discuss now. Generally, in case of economics, the evolution has taken place like this. The 3 important types of economies, systems are capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy. Capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy. Okay. Now, let me explain what is capitalism, what is socialism, what is mixed economy. But to understand the difference between all of them, right, understand the basics first. In any economy, there are certain central problems. Understand the concept here? Always understand concepts. Right? In any economy, there are certain problems. What do you mean by problems here? The resources are available, limited, but resources are available. Now the problem is, one, What should be produced? What should be produced? Don't you think this is one of the central problems of right the economy? Let me know. What should be produced? That is one of the central problems of economy. How? Let me prove it. You have steel, right? And you already have agreed, right? You already have agreed, right? Yes, steel is limited in supply. Can I use the steel to manufacture flask, to manufacture anything else also? For example, steel will be used in manufacturing of cars, let's say. So now the question is, what should be produced using this limited amount of resource? What should we produce? And once, right, the question is what to be produced, next will be how much should we produce? How much should we produce? And the third will be who should produce it? Who should be producing it? These are generally the problems in economy, certain problems, central problems of economy. Now, using this only, we'll understand what is capitalism, right? What is socialism, and what is a mixed economy. Again, you can have multiple questions also. You can have many more questions. At what prices to sell, etc., etc. But let's define based on these only, you'll understand it easily. If the answer to all the questions that I've written here, please follow this very carefully. If the answer to the all the questions that I've written here, if the answer is private sector, if the answer to the question is private sector, that is government will not do it, private sector, that is non-government entities will do it, then this is basically the model of capitalism. Any difficulty? Right? I know some of you are from economics background. Based on the comments you are giving, I know, I can understand it. But make it simple, understand the logic behind it. If the answer to the question, right, what should be produced, how much should be produced, right, who should produce it, right, all these answers, answer is simply capitalism. Answer is private sector. What should be produced? Private sector will decide it. Right, using the steel, how many bottles, how many aeroplanes? Private sector will decide it. How much should be produced? Private sector will decide it. At what prices to sell to customers? Private sector will decide it. Right? Who is producing? Private sector. So if answer to all these questions is private sector, then this model is called as capitalism. The model of capitalism was basically proposed by Adam Smith. And under the model of capitalism, the argument is simple. For all the problems in the economy, solution will be provided by the private sector. Answer is private sector. Then what is the role of the government in such an economy? Role of the government is minimal. Role of the government is minimal. And right, please understand, some of you are asking examples. Right, a very close economy, close to capitalism is USA. Very close to capitalism. You cannot simply say 100% capitalistic. Very close to capitalism is USA. Socialism, former Soviet Union. Have you heard of former Soviet Union? USSR. Right? And mixed economy, best example is India. Mixed economy, the best example is India. Right? Best example is India for mixed economy. Right? For example, please understand this. In case of India, after independence in 1948 itself, Government of India announced that we will follow the model of mixed economy. I'll come to that, just give me some time. So in case of capitalism, idea is simple. Private sector plays a very important role. Role of the government is minimal. Let me show you in detail the discussion about certain features, merits, demerits, etc. What are the features of capitalism? Right, in capitalism, private ownership is allowed. Private, right, that is companies, simple, businessman will own resources. They will decide what to be produced, how much to be produced, at what prices to be sold, etc., etc. Okay. In case of capitalism, there is a freedom. Freedom in the sense, the private sector will decide what they want to produce. And please understand, although I'm saying private sector will decide what to produce, don't you think the kind of production done, the quantity, right, the prices, etc., is mostly determined based on the demand in the market. Any problem in understanding this? It is based on the demand in the market. That is, how many goods are being demanded by the people. What kind of goods are being demanded by the people. Right? Based on that, private sector will take a decision how much we want to produce, where we want to produce, what resources we want to use, at what price we want to sell, etc. etc. Right? So there is a freedom to produce, sell, as well as purchase. For example, if I'm earning income, I have the freedom to purchase whatever I want to purchase, whatever I want to consume in the market. For example, with my income, can I purchase, again, early morning, but anyways, can I purchase liquor products? Let me know. Right? With my income, can I purchase liquor products, tobacco products, or let's say a plate of rice? Can I purchase a car? Can I purchase an aeroplane ticket? Of course, yes. It is your income. There is a freedom. You can go to the market and purchase it. There is a freedom to produce, sell, and purchase. Role of the government is very minimal because in capitalism, everything is done by the private sector only. Right? Everything is decided by private sector only. So the role of the government is very minimal in capitalism. And the most important objective in capitalism is private sector is producing, selling to earn profit. Simple. Right? Private sector is not doing charity here. Private sector is producing and selling the goods and services in the market to earn profit. Profit is the most important objective in the capitalism. Can we go forward now? Can we go forward? Role of the government. Some of you are asking what is minimal. Right? The presence or the functions of the government in the market is very less. Very less, right? As per the requirement. What are the merits of this model of capitalism? What are the advantages? Right? Advantages are one, the role of the government is very minimal in the market. So the market will correct. Market competition is very high. So government doesn't need to interfere in the market. Competition is already present in the market. Second one, efficient utilization of resources. Efficient utilization of resources. You tell me, if resources are there between private sector and the government, that is the entities owned by the government, who do you think is better known for utilization of resources? You only give me the answer. Rather than me, you tell me. Right? Let's say steel is there, labor is there, right? Let's say land is there. Between the government and private sector, who do you think generally utilizes the resources much more efficiently? Private sector? All of you agree? Private sector? Why? Reason is there, right? There is no it's not that there is no answer why private sector is the general answer. The reason is that private sector, because they're focused on the profit. Because they're focused on the profit. Reason is simple. Their focus is profit. They're not doing charity here. Focus is profit. Because they're focused on profit, for every rupee that they're investing, they want to maximize the resources. They want to get the maximum efficiency from the resources. That is the reason efficient utilization of resources is a feature of capitalism. Okay? Market becomes much more efficient. That based on the demand, production will be done. Competition will be very high. If, right, understand this, multiple companies are there, private sector, competition is very high. Don't you think, right? Supply, the market prices will be very competitive. Customers will get the benefit, etc. and etc. Okay? Growth, right? We can achieve a higher production, higher employment can be done, etc. Consumers will be given prominence. Consumers' interest is important. Customer is always right. That is the funda of capitalism. And finally, investment in research and development will be higher. Right? New technologies will be introduced. Of course, because private sector wants to promote their production. These are some of the merits of capitalism. So what are the demerits then? What are the concerns related to capitalism? First one, there is a concentration of the wealth. Second one, there is income inequality. Let me explain this. Some of the students generally have a doubt between what is wealth and what is income. Please understand, wealth inequality is different, income inequality is different. Let me explain this to you. Income means what is my salary? Simple. What is my earning? Right? Either through right sources of my salary, or right, I own a piece of land. What is my income there? I own, let's say, a land. I'm sorry, I own a house. What is a rental income? So understand the logic here. Income means salary here. Income means earning. On the other hand, understand this. On the other hand, wealth refers to assets. Wealth refers to assets. Right? Wealth is different, income is different. Now, please understand, in capitalism, is it okay if I say people who are rich will invest, will set up companies, and will take away profits? Is it okay? People who are very rich, businessmen, they will invest, they'll set up companies, and profits will be taken away by these businessmen or the rich people. Now, please tell me, because of this, don't you think wealth inequality as well as income inequality will be higher in capitalism? Let me know. Right? In case of the capitalism, because the rich people are investing, they will take away the money, they will have higher salary, they will take away the profit, they already have a huge amount of assets. Is it not that because of capitalism, income inequality will start increasing, and right, basically the wealth inequality will also start increasing? Any problem here? Any problem? Right? Assets are those which will provide returns to you. I hope you understand. Assets are those which will provide returns to you. That is called assets. Right? So assets will get returns to you. Income is your earning. So basically in capitalism, right, the people will become richer who are already rich. Right? As a result of this, right, basically the income inequality as well as the wealth inequality will start increasing. Harmful goods are also produced in order to earn profit. Harmful goods will also be produced in order to earn profit. I gave you example of tobacco earlier. I gave you example of liquor. Don't you think both the tobacco and liquor are harmful products? But in capitalism, there is a freedom to produce, freedom to consume, freedom to purchase. Now, in order to achieve that profit objective, companies will produce, right, let's say weapons, rifles will be produced, right? Tobacco products will be produced, liquor products will be produced, but these are harmful. Class conflict. Class conflict basically means rich people, rich, right? Certain very few people become very rich, large people remain very poor. As a result of this, is there conflict between rich people as well as poor people? For example, have you heard of Maoism? Think of it, right? What is the idea of Maoism? It is right, a rebellion against right, rich class. I hope you understand. This can lead to class conflict. Finally, concept of business cycle. Please read the last part of the statement. Don't keep on asking, explain business cycle. Please read the last part of the statement. I'll discuss the concept of business cycle when I take up the next chapter, that is national income aggregates. I'll tell you. Don't worry, it's not that I don't know, but to understand the business cycle, you need to understand GDP. You need to understand, right, inflation. That's the reason. Have patience. We'll discuss this in the next slide. First point and second point. Again, I'll repeat, my dear. In capitalism, people will not earn same amount of salary. People will earn different amount of salary. For example, do you think your salary is equivalent to, right, Mr. Mukesh Ambani's salary? Let me know. All of this is not difficult. You don't observe. That is the reason you don't understand it. Right? Is your salary equivalent to Mr. Mukesh Ambani's salary? Is your salary equivalent to, right, your let's say your friend's salary? Not necessary. Right? Income inequalities will be there. Right? And second point is, right, people will have different ownership of asset. Some people will own 10 kgs of gold. Some people will own, right, 150 acres of land. Some people will own only one bicycle, right? Some people will own only one home. So don't you think wealth inequality is also present in capitalism, right? So this is the concept of critical evaluation. We have discussed what are the advantages, benefits, as well as disadvantages or the concerns related to capitalism. Now, before I go forward, please answer to my question. Do you think capitalism is a best suited model for Indian economy? Let me know. Do you think capitalism is the best suited model for Indian economy? No. This was asked by UPSC. Some of you are saying yes, right? Please think of it very carefully. Think of it very carefully, right? This model is not suited for Indian economy. Why? In case of Indian economy, already there are so many people who are poor. Already so much of income inequality, right? So much of wealth inequality. Now you want to bring capitalism and adopt capitalism in India. So imagine what will happen to the economy because of capitalism. It is not suited for India. It is not suited. Okay. Let me go to the next one. Socialism. But before that, there was one student who said, sir, income inequalities are present even in socialism. Correct. Even in socialism, please understand, right? Please tell me, does it make in any form of economy? Forget about capitalism, socialism, mixed economy. Let me ask you a very simple question. In any form of the economy, do you think every worker should be paid same salary? Don't worry which form of economy. Simple question to you people. In any form of the economy, do you think, right, every worker should be paid same salary? No, that is a utopian concept. How do you think it makes a sense to pay same salary to everyone? No. Which means, right, even in socialism, let's say government employees are there. Government employees are there in socialism, right? Somebody could be an IAS officer, within that, a cabinet secretary, and somebody could be a recent entrant to IAS cadre. Don't you think the salary should be different for both of them? So, of course, yes, income inequality will be present even in idea of a socialism. But please understand when wealth inequality will not be present here. Why? In socialism, who will control the factors of production? Who will decide everything, right? Every answer to the central problems of economy is given by the government. Is given by the government. Who should produce? Government will do that. And when I say government, please understand here, generally, the idea of a socialism is associated with central economies or centrally planned economies. Idea of socialism is associated with centrally planned economies. Central planning means the government will decide everything. Government will plan, government will decide everything. Right? So in case of socialism, right, who will decide, who will produce? Government will decide. And when I say government will decide, government will set up companies which are owned by the government and they will start producing it. Right? So central planning will be done here. The objective is, the main theme of socialism is social benefit. Main theme is social welfare. We will provide employment to the people. We will ensure people will have sufficient amount of money to purchase goods. We will ensure people will get access to clean drinking water. That is the central theme. Central theme of socialism. And because government is controlling everything, competition is very limited. In many of the cases, competition will not be there. Competition will not be there. Let me give a very simple example. Right, till 1990s, in case of India, and please understand, India did not follow true socialism. No complete socialism in India. So understand the statement here. In case of India, till 1990s, for telephone services, telecommunications, only one company was there, BSNL. Now tell me, is there any competition? Think of it. Was there any competition? Only one company is there. Post 1990, right, we implemented various telecom policies, as a result of which private sector entry was allowed. Now today there is a private sector participation, competition is there. Okay, right? So these are the features of socialism. What are the merits? It will reduce inequalities. Any problem? Wealth inequality? No, right? Government will control. Second one, allocation of resources based on the requirement of the people. Right? Government will ensure that what is needed for the people, resources will be used to produce that. And think of this. Do you think there is any kind of a choice? Is there a freedom of choice available in socialism for consumers? Think of it. Is there a freedom of choice? Right? That is, in case of socialism, you might have salary. You want to purchase, let's say, liquor, but government will say harmful product we will not produce. Simple. Harmful product we will not produce it. So where is the freedom of consumption? Where is the freedom of choice? Right? Promotion of social welfare is the objective. Right? We will be achieving, right, the social objective, or that is social welfare objective. Now, next one. What is a demerit? What is a disadvantage related to socialism? There is a lot of red tapeism and bureaucracy. And before you ask me, what do you mean by red tapeism? Red tapeism simply refers to rules or regulations or guidelines that are unnecessary and will cause a lot of delays. Right? Red tapeism simply means rules, regulations, or guidelines that are unnecessary and that will cause a lot of delays. Let me give a very simple example. In case of socialism, I said goods are produced by the government, provided by the government. Services are produced by the government, provided by the government. Now, because government is involved, don't you think lot of these will be controlled by government officials? Think of it. Right? You want to get a service, government officials are present there. You want to get a, right, let's say a good, government officials are present there. You want to get a social welfare benefit, again government officials are present there. Now please understand, whenever you approach government officials, please tell me what is the general perception. Do you think government officials will do your work very quickly or they will delay the process? You tell me, by the way. Right? For example, you want to get a certificate. You want to get a certificate. Right? Is it easy to go to a government officer and get the certificate? Or else, can I give you one example? Don't write it, by the way. Can I give you one example? How many of you have got your own driving license? Let me check. Let me check and then let me ask you. How many of you got your own driving license done by yourself? That is, you went to the office, RTO office, you filled in the form, right? You stood in the line, you went for right the inspection, and then you got the driving license. Was it easy? Think of it. Was it easy? Right? Very convenient, very easy process. Right? Will be done within minutes. If there is anybody who says yes, please contact me. Let me know which RTO office you actually went to. You'll go to office, right? RTO office, 100 people are running around. You don't know what to do. Right? You want to ask where you will get the application form. Nobody will answer to you. Right? Finally, you will go stand in a window. Right? He is gone somewhere. They are closing the window. Right? They will give you a form. And you want to know how to fill the form. Nobody will help you out. Yes or no? Let me know. Is it not basically the rules or regulations which is causing unnecessary delay? Which is causing a huge delay. And for what purpose? Corruption. Simple. Corruption. So apply the same logic to, right, the idea of a socialism. In socialism, everything is controlled by government officials, bureaucrats. Right? They will basically quote government rules and they will delay the process. And that will cause a lot of delay, lot of corruption will take place. Second, companies are working. There is no competition for them. Companies are there which are set up by the government only. Right? No competition for them. Do you think companies will be working efficiently then? Think of it. Right? Government will set up, let's say, one telecom company. No more competition. Nobody else is there in the market. Only BSNL. Right? There is absolutely no focus on efficiency. Right? They are not worried about utilization of the resources efficiently. No. Why? If competition is there, only then all of these factors will come into picture. If you don't trust me, I'll give you one example. Just talk to your parents after the class is over. Ask them, was it easier to get telephone connection back in 1990s when only one company was there, BSNL, right? Ask them, right, was it easier to get telephone connection? Now today you see how easy it is to get telephone connection, right? So absence of incentives for efficiency, productivity will suffer, no proper utilization of resources, etc. And there is a limited freedom of choice, right? A limited freedom because government is deciding what they want to produce, and government will decide only these goods or services will be available in market, right? So that is basically, right, the limited freedom of choice. These are the demerits. These are the demerits. Done. Can we go forward? Incentives means, right, extra earning. Any benefit. Are you going to get any benefit when only you are present in the market? Okay, we'll take a break after this. Let me cover mixed economy. After this, we'll take break. And by the way, this is my sincere advice to you. Learn to sit for longer durations. I know you will start scolding me now. I know that. Learn to sit for longer duration. Why? Quickly, 30 seconds, I'll tell you. UPSC mains, every day you'll have two papers. Morning 3 hours, afternoon 3 hours. So target should be that. Your target should be that. Right? Please be very careful. Mixed economy. Let's start mixed economy. Example is India. What is the feature of a mixed economy? Both the government as well as private sector. Both the government as well as private sector will be producing goods or services, will be supplying goods and services in the market. Is it okay? Is it okay? In mixed economy, both, right, both the government as well as private sector will be producing goods and supplying goods and services in the market. Take the example of India. Take the example of India. In case of telecom sector, can I say you will see both government of India as well as private sector? Let me know. Right? Apply the common sense, apply examples in real time, automatically you'll understand the model. In telecom sector, can you see both private sector and government sector? In education, can you see both government as well as private? Right? So basically argument is the government plus a private sector, both will be present in the economy. Right? Both will participate, both will produce, right, and supply the goods and services in the market. Right? I'll give you one more example. In case of civil aviation simply means aeroplanes, flying of aeroplanes. Civil aviation market, right? Don't you think now in the civil aviation market, service providers are all of them private sector companies? Let me know. In civil aviation, right, only private sector companies are present today. Until couple of years ago, you had a combination, private sector and government. But the entity owned by, right, the government of India, that is Air India, has been sold to private sector company now. Air India is owned by Tata company, which means even in case of civil aviation market, you will see only private sector being present. Can I give you exactly opposite to this? Nuclear energy. Tell me now. Nuclear energy, right? Who sets up companies to operate, to take care of nuclear energy in India? Only government of India. Only the government of India. Private sector is not allowed, right? Let's say mining of atomic energy related materials, utilization of atomic energy related materials, everything is done by government of India, right? So you can see, right, all these combinations. In one, only government is there. In another, both government and private sector is there. In the third, only private sector is present. But please do let me know, right? Let me put forward one more thought in your head. Can government of India change these combinations at any point of time? Think of it. Can government of India change these combinations at any point of time? Of course, yes. Which means ultimate control on the economy is with government. For example, tomorrow, government might simply say, even in nuclear energy, I will allow private sector. They can do that. It is the decision of the government of India. Or else tomorrow government might simply say, whatever civil aviation companies are there, private sector companies, we will nationalize them. There's a term called as nationalization. Please remember this. There is a term called as a nationalization. Nationalization simply means from the private sector, ownership will be transferred to the government. From the private sector, ownership will be transferred to the government. Has it happened in India for the past 60 plus years or 70 plus years? Yes, we have seen. Let me give you examples. Coal mining was nationalized in India. Coal mining was nationalized. And the best example, Air India. Air India company to begin with was owned by Tata company. It was nationalized by the government, which means private ownership to government ownership. Banking sector was nationalized in India, right? So there have been examples, and exactly opposite to nationalization is privatization. Exactly opposite to nationalization is the idea of privatization. What happens in privatization? In privatization, what government does is it will sell away the ownership. It will sell its ownership of companies to private sector. The best example that you can think of in current affairs regarding privatization is Air India. It is basically nothing but Air India. Air India, which was owned by government of India, now has been completely sold to private sector. Privatization. So understand the logic here, right? In mixed economy, government has the complete control. They can go for privatization, and opposite of this, they can also go for nationalization, right? They can do anything. Ownership of a means of production, resources is with both government as well as private sector, right? Both will provide a solution to the economic problems, right? What do you mean by economic problems here? Who will produce? What will be produced? How much will be produced? These are economic problems. Private sector has a freedom, but overall control is always in the government. Okay. What are the merits? More production can be achieved, more employment can be achieved, right? More and more goods and services can be, right, sold in the market. That is basically the idea of a growth here. Balanced growth. What do you mean by balanced growth? Let me give a very simple example. Imagine there is a, right, one region in India where private sector is participating, more companies have been set up. This region is very well developed. Employment generation is very high, right? The production of goods and services is also very high, etc. Now tell me, government, can it also promote growth in other regions where, right, employment is very low, where development has not taken place, where lot of people are poor? Can government of India promote growth in other regions also? Think of it. Is it possible? Of course, yes. Right? Government through various of its policies will promote growth in all the regions, not only in one region, in other regions as well. Balanced growth. Proper utilization of the resources, because private sector is present, we expect proper utilization of the resources. Government will protect the interest of all the sections of the society. For example, tell me now, again, don't make it political. In economics, keep it economical. Right? Any government that you can think of in the last 20 to 30 years, don't you think they have taken certain policies, implemented certain policies in order to reduce poverty in India? Possible? Yes or no? I'm not even saying possible. Yes or no? Right? Can I say government of India in the last, right, let's say 1.5 decades or 2 decades, also has implemented policies to promote employment, has provided a clean drinking water facility, has promoted education sector, has promoted, right, the employment in rural India. So that is the meaning. Government will protect the interest of all the sections of the society. They're not worried about only rich people, not only middle class. They're worried about all of them. Okay. But having said so, what are the demerits? What are the concerns related to this model of economy? First one, inefficiency of the public sector. Public sector means entities which are owned by the government. companies which are owned by the government. Now, don't you think, take the example of India itself. Take the example of India, right? Have you not seen many public sector entities that is owned by government of India, right, which are functioning inefficiently? Can I give you examples? Air India. Tell me, right? Anywhere have you read until, let's say, until last year when it was sold to private sector company? Anywhere have you read that in the last 10 years, Air India has earned profits? Let me know. Anywhere have you read saying a statement says in the last 1 decade, Air India has earned very high profits? Absolutely no. Air India has kept on incurring losses. 1 year after the other, they have kept on earning losses. Second example, BSNL. BSNL, right? Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited. Please tell me, is BSNL earning profits? Is BSNL on the verge of right being closed down? If you have read the newspapers, you will know this point. Government is infusing money. Government is right giving money to the BSNL to ensure they are working now. Right, they are incurring losses. So whenever you talk about right the mixed economy model, the entities owned by the government, that is public sector, right? Sometimes we see that these are working inefficiently, right? Working inefficiently. There is also fear of nationalization. Private sector is generally concerned, what if government of India, right, will go for nationalization? There's a possibility. What if they go for nationalization? They will take away ownership from us. There is a fear. Third one is income inequality and wealth inequality will be observed in mixed economy. You'll see both income inequality as well as wealth inequality. Can I simply say, look at Indian economy? Let me know. Look at Indian economy. Is there income inequality in India? Think of it and tell me, is there income inequality? Anybody who says, sir, absolutely no. I don't see any income inequality. And second, is there wealth inequality also in India? Of course, yes. There is a huge amount of wealth inequality. There is a huge amount of income inequality. Many of you will ask me, sir, why? Why does it happen? My dear, please remember this. Wherever you see private sector is present, simple. Any model of economy, you see private sector present, by default, there will be wealth inequality. Take it granted. Take it as granted. If private sector is present, you will see wealth inequality as well as income inequality. Done? Right. So these are the three types of models of economy. Right. We'll take a break now. We'll continue the discussion after the break. But before that, if you have any kind of questions, please do let me know. Please do let me know. Okay. Any questions that you people have? Can government go for nationalization forcibly? Yes, they can do that. Because please understand, government has the overall control. And please understand, in the past examples are there. Bank nationalization. Do you think private sector will be happy with the government nationalizing? Of course, right? Or for that matter, Air India. So government can go for nationalization whether private sector likes it or not. Only India is the country which has mixed economy. That means only India have both government and private sector? No. Many countries around the world follow the model of mixed economy itself. What is fear of nationalization? Private sector is concerned that government, right? Let's say there is a change in the government. New government can have a different ideology altogether. Yes or no? Please do let me know. Right? Let's say there is a change in the government. New government can have a altogether completely different ideology. What if they come to the power, they form the government and they'll simply say, let me nationalize them. Right? Possibility is there. And history, economic history says, yes, that has actually happened. For example, 1970s, right? 1970s, the policies were changed. Private sector ownership, especially foreign companies ownership, was reduced to 40% in India. Okay. Uh, Anything else? Define red tapeism. It is there in the slide. Right? You people don't read correctly. Red tapeism simply means unnecessary delays that are caused because of government rules or guidelines. Okay. Rather than saying, please take my question, type your question. When I'm looking, right, I can see only question. Please type the question. Can foreign companies get nationalized? Possibility is there, right? Possibility is there. Sir, will shareholders be part of entrepreneurship? No, these are not the people who are starting the company. Entrepreneurs means who are starting the company. Russia also applied a mixed economy, right? On the face of it, yes, they say, right, we will allow private sector also to participate. But you know what happens in Russia. Okay, can we just rely on PPT for static part? What I would recommend is use a book with this. Use a book with this. Assets example of property, but no return. What do you mean by asset is an example of property, but no return? I don't understand. Right? Let's say, okay, imagine you have an asset, right? If you have purchased the asset at, let's say, 3 crore rupees, can you sell it in the market at 5 crore rupees? That is the return that you are going to earn. Okay. Okay. So let's take a break now. Let's take a break. Take a 10-minute break. We'll restart the discussion at 8:10. We'll restart the discussion at 8:10. Okay, sorry, I've written PM here. Many of you pointed AM, 8:10 AM. Lost when one alternative is chosen or the next best available alternative. Now, let me give you a simple example here. Again, make it simple. Do not complicate it. Don't behave like a chartered accountant here. Okay, welcome back. Am I audible? Am I audible? Can we continue? Okay, let's start. So, next concept I want to discuss, just a basic concept here, opportunity cost. Okay, opportunity cost. Now, what is the basic idea of opportunity cost? Let me start with an example. Opportunity cost is also referred to as alternative cost. It simply refers to the potential benefit or the returns that you forego. Forego means a sacrifice or lost. When one alternative is chosen over the other alternative. Different definitions are there. Keep it simple, right? Simple. Potential benefit or the returns that you have foregone or lost when one alternative is chosen over the next best available alternative. Now, let me give you a simple example here. Again, make it simple. Do not complicate it. Don't behave like a chartered accountant here. Just make it simple. Let's say you have 100 rupees. Okay, let's say you have 100 rupees. And the 100 rupee, there are two choices, two options available to you. First choice is you can take the 100 rupee and keep it in a bank in the form of fixed deposit. All of you heard of fixed deposit? Anybody who says, sir, what is fixed deposit? I'm hearing it for the first time. You keep certain amount of money with the bank for certain period of time. Right? Let's say 100 rupee for 1 year with a bank. And for that amount of money, bank will give you certain rate of interest. That is called as a fixed deposit. So one option that is available to you is take 100 rupee, keep it in a bank. Second option available to you is take that 100 rupee and start a business. Start a business. Now let's start. Let's start. If you choose the option one, right, the rate of interest that you will earn is 6%, which means, please understand, calculation should be easier here. On 100 rupee after 1 year, you will make a earning of 6 rupee. You will earn 6 rupee. Now have a look at this very carefully. Imagine you have chosen, you have made a choice, you will go with option 1. And you'll basically say, no, I will not start with a business. I will not start the business. Right? Let's say if you had started the business, after 1 year, you did not earn any profit. If you had started the business, you would not earn any profit. So understand the concept of opportunity cost here. If you choose option 1 and ignore option 2, sacrifice option 2, can I say because of your choice, you have made an earning of 6 rupees? Let me know. Because of your choice, right? You chose one, sacrifice the other. Sacrifice means you did not choose the other. Please do let me know. If you choose option 1 and sacrificed option 2 because of your choice, can I say you have made a earning of 6 rupee? Right? This is one situation. Second example, rather than choosing option 1, you will choose option 2. You will sacrifice option 1, you will choose option 2, which means after 1 year is over, you have taken 100 rupee, you started a business. After 1 year is over, you did not earn any profit, right? Right, 0 rupee profit. Now, can I simply say, because of your choice, you have sacrificed an option where you could have earned 6 rupees. Let me know, I'll repeat it. Because of your choice, that is, you chose option 2 and sacrificed option 1, you have foregone an opportunity to earn 6 rupee. That's 6 rupee is an opportunity cost. Simply, 6 rupee is an opportunity cost. And many of you, right, start giving examples to me. Sir, what if in future I'm going to earn profit? What if I will earn this much profit, etc.? My dear, when you earn in future, you calculate opportunity cost then. Right now, what is the opportunity cost? You tell me. Right now, what is the opportunity cost? You simply tell me. You can do it for every year. Right now, what is it? Right? Argument is simple. You choose option 1 and sacrifice option 2. You will earn 6 rupee. You choose option 2, sacrifice option 1. You will lose an opportunity to earn 6 rupees. This is a basic idea of opportunity cost. That is the potential benefit or loss, right, because of sacrificing one option over the other option. Right? That is basically the idea of opportunity cost. If you go with option 1, you will earn 6 rupee, right? Then your opportunity cost is positive because in the second case it is 0. But because you have gone with option 1, you have earned 6 rupee. So opportunity cost is positive. Or else, let me put it in much simpler way. Between two options, you choose one option, any one of them. And the returns that you earn from this option, if it is more than whatever returns you could have earned from the second option, that is positive opportunity cost. Any difficulty? I'll repeat it again. Just understand this. Right? There are two options available to you. There are two options available to you. You will choose one of them. You will sacrifice the other. And whatever returns you earn from the option chosen is more than whatever returns you could have earned from the sacrificed option, your opportunity cost is positive. Otherwise, opportunity cost will become negative. Right? That is, in the second option is chosen. Imagine you have chosen second option. Right? If you have chosen the second option and sacrificed the first option, after 1 year is over, you have not earned any profit, which also means you have sacrificed an option where you could have earned 6 rupees. So your opportunity cost is a negative if you choose a second option over the first option. Any difficulty? Any difficulty? This is a basic concept. Right? Basic concept. Right? So you make choices. Right? And again, many of you ask me, sir, why do I need to make a choice? My dear, any example? What do you think I'm doing here? What do you think I'm doing here? This is interesting. Sir, give example. My dear, what I've written is an example on the board. Right? Right? Listen to the lecture carefully. So it's a very simple idea. You have limited resources. Okay, you have limited resources, right? Because many of you are asking, sir, why should I have to choose? I will not choose. You will be forced to choose because there are limited resources available to you. And because the resources are limited, imagine you're a manufacturer, you want to use a steel to manufacture a bottle or manufacture, let's say, something else. You'll have to make choices there. Can you choose both of them? Right? It's not possible because the resources are limited. So you will have to make a choice. Right? Now, when you make a choice, you will have to basically calculate opportunity cost. Where the opportunity cost is positive, generally people choose that kind of an option. Is the logic okay? Where it is applied in real life, companies actually use it every time. Right? Let me give a very simple example, but again, that is not needed for UPSC. Imagine you own a company. You are the owner of the company. Now, don't you think if you want to hire an employee, think of it. Will you use opportunity concept here? Think of it. You want to hire an employee. Now, there are two options available to you. One, hire a full-time employee. Hire a full-time employee. Second option is hire a contractual worker. Contractual simply means a freelancer. Have you heard of this particular term now? Freelancer, very, very famous. Freelancers. That is only for that work they will come, finish the work, give it to you and go. Take the money and go. So now don't you think you will make calculations? If I hire a full-time employee, I will have to pay 50,000 rupees per month. Whereas if I hire a freelancer, only for 2 days, I will ask the person to work and I'll pay only 20,000 rupees. So my opportunity cost is I will make a savings of 30,000 rupees if I hire a contractual employee. I hope you understand, right? Generally, in real life, lot of times we will actually do the calculation without realizing we are actually doing the calculation of opportunity cost. Can we go forward now? Anybody has an issue? Right? Wants are unlimited, but because the resources are very scarce, scarce means limited, right? The people will be forced to make choices. You'll have to forego one option, sacrifice one alternative, choose the other alternative. And that is basically the concept of opportunity cost. Any problem here? When you choose a second option, sometimes we gain more than 6 rupees. Of course, yes, that is also a possibility. Right? Some of you say, sir, imagine I will go with option 2. I'll prove it. Doesn't matter. Okay. Imagine I will go with option 2. Rather than option 1, I will go with option 2. What if after 1 year, I've made a profit of 10 rupee? You tell me now. What if after 1 year, I've made a profit of 10 rupee? Now, can I say, because of your choice, you have a positive opportunity cost? Think of it. Because of the choice that you have made, you have earned a positive opportunity cost. That's a basic idea. Right? Whatever choices you have made, make a comparison. You will understand whether your choice, right, the option that you have chosen, has it provided opportunity cost which is positive or negative. You will be able to find out. Okay, that is a basic idea. Okay, shall we go forward now? I have a book of 200 rupee, want to buy book, but I choose to spend on shoes rather than book. What is opportunity cost? You tell me what is the benefit. What is the benefit? You tell me. Right? On what basis are you making a comparison? You tell me, then I'll tell you whether there is a positive opportunity cost or negative opportunity cost. Right? In fact, please understand, you can have positive OC, you can also have negative OC, you can also have zero opportunity cost. Remember this. You can also have zero opportunity cost. Right? And let me give a very simple example. Zero opportunity cost is generally observed in free goods. Remember this. Zero opportunity cost is observed in free goods. And when I say free goods here, which are available in nature for you, which are available in nature for you. For example, air. Can I say air is a free good here? Correct me if I'm wrong. Air is a free good. Do you pay money? Do you pay money to purchase air from the market? What about sunlight? Anybody is taking money from you for you to get sunlight? Please do let me know. So whenever there are free goods in the free goods which are available in nature, these will carry zero opportunity cost. Okay. Now let me go to the next concept, law of demand. Now we will discuss two very important laws. Understand both of them. One is law of a demand and the other one is law of supply. One is law of a demand and the other one is law of supply. And before I start the discussion, law of a demand always will focus on the demand side in the market. What do you mean by demand side in the market? You will go to the market, I will go to the market, we will purchase tomatoes. Although we'll keep on crying over it, but don't worry, we'll purchase tomatoes. Can I say this is a demand side in the market? We'll go to the market and purchase, let's say onion. We'll go to the market, purchase car. Can I say we are part of the demand side in the market? On the other side, please understand, law of supply will focus and discuss from the seller's perspective, seller's viewpoint, the manufacturer's viewpoint. So law of supply will focus on manufacturing and supply. Law of demand will focus on purchasing of goods and services. Let me start. Whenever you want to discuss law of demand, please understand, whatever is the demand for goods and services in the market, can I say the demand for the goods and services is based on various factors, is dependent on various factors in the market. For example, imagine you want to purchase, let's say a mobile phone. Let's start. Imagine you want to purchase a mobile phone. What are the factors? What are the factors that will influence the demand in the market for the mobile phone? Can I say point number one will be price of commodity? What is the price of the mobile phone? Please tell me, will it have an impact on the demand of the mobile phones or not? Anybody disagrees with me? Anybody who says, sir, price does not matter, demand will be there, etc. Right? I hope you understand. You want to purchase anything in the market, will you not be affected by the price of the product? Of course, yes. That is the first one. And I've written the term commodity here. Commodity simply means anything that has been produced and will be sold in the market. Price of the product. Second one is price of related good. Second one is the price of related good. Now, what do you mean by price of related good here? Let me shift to a new slide. Again, I'll come back to this. Don't worry. Don't say, sir, you're skipping the slide. I'll come back to this slide. Don't worry. Now, have a look at this. There is one classification. There is one classification. Substitute goods and complementary goods. Substitute goods and complementary goods. What do you mean by substitute goods and complementary goods? These are examples of related goods. Both are examples of related goods. But what do you mean by related goods? Related goods are those goods where the price of one good, will have an impact on demand for another good. I repeat, how do you define who are related goods? What are related goods? These are the types of goods wherein price of one good will have an impact on demand for another good. Let me prove it to you. Let me simply prove it to you. Take the example of ink and printer. Take the example of ink and printer. Now, please tell me, if the prices of the printers will start going upwards, don't you think the demand should be affected for the printer? Let me know. Simple question to all of you. Participate, then it becomes easier. If the prices of the printers will start increasing, do you think, more people will purchase printers? No. The purchasing for the printers automatically should go down. And if, the people will purchase a lesser number of printers, what do you think will happen to the demand for the ink? What do you think will happen to the demand for the ink? demand for the ink will automatically go down. Now, please tell me, right, is it not the same as the definition that I've provided earlier? That is, a price of one good will have an impact on demand for another good. These are called as related goods. Let me give you one more example. Tea and coffee. And please remember these examples. Questions have been asked on this. Please remember. Tea and coffee. Now, for majority of us, majority, not all of us, I know there are some people who will not agree because they want only tea, because they want only coffee. I'm not talking about them. Most of the people in India. Now, is it okay for most of us, right? Either tea is okay or coffee is okay. Let me know. For most of the people, including me, by the way, either tea is okay or coffee is okay. Either one of them is okay, right? None of us will combine both of them and drink. Is there anyone in the class who says, no, sir, I'll take tea, I'll take coffee, and I'll mix, right? Just like coffee, right? Madras coffee, they'll keep on mixing like this, no? Right? So I'll mix both of them and I'll consume. Is there anyone? Please don't do that. Right? So understand the logic behind this. Either you will drink tea, some of you might be doing this, or you will drink coffee. You will never combine both of them. So understand the logic behind it. Let's say price of tea will go up. Understand this. Let's say price of the tea will go up. Right now, imagine both of them were available in the market at 10 rupees. Both of them were available in the market at 10 rupees. Price of the tea goes up to 12 rupees per cup now. Please tell me, as a result of this, don't you think demand for the coffee will start increasing? Think of it. Right? Don't you think because of this, demand for the coffee will start increasing? These are called as substitutes. These are called as substitutes. Right? What do you mean by substitutes? Instead of tea, I will replace tea with coffee. Simple. Substitute. Right? Replace tea with coffee. And what if the coffee prices will increase to 15 rupees? Now I will replace, right, coffee with tea. These are called as substitutes. And please understand, is it not again related good? Is it not an example of a related good? Price of tea goes up, demand for coffee also goes up, related goods. But please understand the difference between substitute and related goods. Both are not one and the same, right? Understand the difference. In case of substitute goods, we will replace consumption of one good with another good. Whereas in case of complementary goods, these goods are always consumed by combining them. Is the logic okay? The complementary goods are consumed in combination. For example, printer and ink. Don't you think if you purchase a printer, you will require ink? Simple logic, by the way. If you purchase printer, you will require ink. If you purchase car, you will require petrol. If you purchase car, right, you will require diesel. So the complementary goods are consumed in combination. Consumed in combination. Whereas substitute goods are consumed individually. You will not consume in combination. That is wrong. In fact, when I told you, right, tea and coffee is right consumed in combination, I'm pretty sure some of you would have imagined and said, are a very bad combination. Right? Don't combine both tea and coffee. Right? So tea will be consumed individually or coffee will be consumed individually. These are called as substitute goods. Any problem with this? Can I go forward now? Any problem with this? Any problem? Please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll simply go forward. Okay. Now, come back to this law of demand. We were discussing law of demand. Come back to this. So, first factor which will have influence on the demand for the goods is price of the commodity. Second factor is a price of the related goods. Now, it should be clear to you. Right? If you're talking about demand for tea, don't you think what is the price of its substitute will affect the demand for tea? If you're talking about a demand for printer, right, or let's say printer ink, don't you think what is the price of the printer will have an impact on the demand for printer's ink? That is price of the related goods. So price of the related goods will also have an impact on demand for product. Third one, income of the consumer. Very important. Right? What is my income? Don't you think that will have an impact on what good I will purchase, what services I will purchase in the market? Of course, yes. And finally, the taste and preference. The taste and preference of a consumer. For example, think of it. You are very much interested in using a mobile phone with the latest technology. And there are people, by the way, you might disagree with me. There are people who will prefer it, right? You are a tech savvy person. You want to use a mobile phone with a 5G connection. Will you go to the market and purchase Nokia 1100? Think of it. You are a person who is very tech savvy. You want to use a very good latest technology when you want to use a mobile. Will you go to the market and purchase Nokia 1100? And those who are wondering what is Nokia 1100, very iconic mobile phone in India, you check the photo later in Google. Which means your taste is different, your preference is different. I hope you understand. Your taste is different, your preference is different. So basically, understand this, your taste and preference will also determine what kind of product you will purchase in the market. All of you will agree? So these are the factors. Anybody has a difficulty in any of the factors? Please do let me know. Right? Anybody has difficulty in any of the factors? I'm saying these are the kind of factors which will determine what kind of a good or a service you will purchase in the market. Right? Last option, my dear. What is your taste and preference will determine what product you will purchase. Let me give you one example. Don't write it, but if you're a vegetarian, will you go to a restaurant and order a chicken biryani? Let me know. Right? Very polarizing argument, but don't worry. Right? At least now it should be very clear to you. If you are a vegetarian, will you go to the hotel or a restaurant, or will you go to KFC and order a chicken burger? Of course, no. Which means your taste and preference will determine what kind of product you will purchase. If you are a vegan, extreme case now. If you are a vegan, will you purchase any milk product in the market? And some of you might be searching what is vegan now. Vegan means naturally available products. Naturally available. Right? No processing, no milk, nothing. Right? So argument is simple. Your taste and preference will determine what kind of product you will purchase in the market. Okay? Done? In fact, please understand, out of all these factors, let me know if you want, right, me to correct it. Let me know it. Is it okay if I say out of all of these products, the first one is the most important? Let me know. Out of all these factors, the first one is the most important. Most important, by the way. Right? Because many of you, right, when you go to the market, you want to purchase, right? When you want to purchase any product, most of the times you'll be worried about price of the commodity itself. Price of the commodity. That is the most important factor. Now, what is the use of all of this? Let me explain. Let me explain. There is a concept called as law of demand. Law of demand states that if all the other factors remain unchanged, if all the other factors remain unchanged, all the other factors means your income does not change, your taste and preference does not change, all the factors remain same. If all the factors remain unchanged, then higher the price of the good, lower will be the demand, and vice versa. I'll repeat it. Higher the price of the good, lower will be the demand, and vice versa. Vice versa means what? It simply says if price of the product goes up, demand will go down, and if the price of the product goes down, demand will go up. This is the meaning of the term vice versa. Now, the same thing, can I put it in the form of a formula? Right? At least some of you will find it much easier to remember. Can I say price is inversely proportional to the demand for the product? Let me know. Can I say law of demand? What does it state? It simply states price of the product is inversely proportional to the demand. That is basically the law of demand. Simple. That is basically the law of demand. Now, some of you are applying the law of demand to everything in the economy. It doesn't work like that. I'll give you certain exemptions. Give me some time. Does law of demand or law of supply work every time? No, there are certain exceptions. I will tell you, just give me some time. Okay? So price is inversely proportional to the demand in the market. And please remember this. Please remember this. Always start with price. Whenever you're talking about law of demand, always start with price. Why? The demand is changing because the price is changing. All of you will agree with my statement here? Anybody disagrees? Feel free. The demand is changing because the price is changing. It's not opposite. Don't say, sir, anyways. Right? Some of you will do this. Right? Some of you will do this. Right? What is that? You'll basically take your CSET argument, put it here. Right? Which is problem. You will look at the equation. Price goes up, demand goes down. Right? Which means price going up, demand goes down. Some of you will write it like this. If the demand goes down, then price goes up. Is it correct? Apply common sense. Tell me. Some of you will simply say, sir, anyways, one is a arrow mark going up, right? Another arrow mark going down. I will write it like this. But is it correct? Right? Is it going to make sense in the economy? If the demand goes down, and some of you are saying yes for this. Some of you are saying yes, this statement is correct. No, my dear, statement is wrong. If the demand goes down, will the price for the commodity go up? Imagine you're a seller. Imagine you're selling commodities in the market. People are not coming to purchase your product. You are selling at 100 rupee. You will increase it to 150 rupees. Tell me now. Will you increase it to 150? Does it make sense to you? No. You should decrease it to, let's say, 70 rupees. Decrease it to 70 rupees. So again, please understand the logic here. Right? That's the reason there are technical terms used in economics. Some of you will come across this and suddenly get confused. Suddenly you will start shivering looking at those terms. Don't worry. Look at this. Can I say now? After this, can I say now? Price is an independent factor. Demand is a dependent factor. Think of this and tell me now. Can I say price is an independent factor? Demand is a dependent factor. That is, a demand is changing because price is changing. Right? So price independent, demand dependent. That's the reason I'm saying don't make these kind of mistakes. These are very silly mistakes. Right? Because you simply learned it, you simply by-hearted it, you will write it like this in the exam. Right? So argument is simple. Price is going to change, and a result of this, right, demand is going to change. Again, some of you will keep on arguing with me whatever I say. Price is also dependable. My dear, I'm comparing between price and demand. Tell me now. I'm talking about price and demand. Don't insert anything else here. Simply compare between price and demand. I'm saying demand is changing because price is changing. That is the reason I said price is an independent factor, demand is a dependent factor. Right? Do not complicate economics. Keep it always simple. Okay, so this is law of demand. Anybody has a problem with this? Are there exceptions to this? There are exceptions. I will give you those exceptions. Have patience. You should be having patience. There's a statement, no? There's a saying. Good things will always come to those who wait. And again, although this is economics, don't worry. I will give you exceptions. Please wait, sir, for some time. How do I represent law of demand? Right? How do I represent law of demand? This is the representation, graphical representation of law of demand. Now, before I explain the graphical representation, do not by heart this table. Absolutely useless. Do not by heart this. Sir, then why have you written it? How do I represent the law of demand? I should show to you that. That is the reason I've written the table here. That's it. right? There are certain economic students, this is called as a demand schedule. For GS paper, not at all needed. Let's start. Right, in case of a graphical representation, along x-axis we represent quantity, right? How many units I will represent along x-axis, and on the y-axis, along the y-axis, right, I will represent the price of the commodity, price of the product. Now, how do I draw the line? Generally, how do I draw the line? And please understand, we use right a system called as a demand schedule. And again, I'm telling you, right, how do we draw it? Do not by heart it. UPSC will not ask you. That is basically in the market, we try to find out at different price levels. At different price levels, how much will be the quantity demanded for a product? How much quantity should be demanded for a product? We get the data, use the data, and right basically draw a demand curve. All of you know how do we draw a curve? Let me know. Right, in high school, right, have you learned this or not? Right, basically they will tell you, right, take x coordinate, take y coordinate, point 1, point 2, point 3, connect the dot, and congrats, you have a demand curve. Right, for UPSC, please don't practice that, they are not going to ask you that. So this is the demand curve representation. Now question is, why does it happen like this in the law of demand? Why is that? As the prices go up, demand will go down. And as the prices will go down, demand will go up. Why does it happen? Let me explain. First one is, the people's purchasing power will start changing. Purchasing power will start changing whenever the prices will change. Sir, what do you mean by that? Imagine you have 100 rupees. Imagine you have 100 rupees. Price of a product right now is 20 rupees. Now, simple CSAT calculation. Can I say you will be able to purchase 5 units of the product? Any problem? Right? At 20 rupees per unit, you have 100 rupees. You'll be able to purchase 5 units of the product. Right? Now, what if the price of the product goes up to 25 rupees? What if, right, the price of the product goes up to 25 rupees? At 100 rupees, now will you be able to purchase 5 units of the product? No, your purchasing power will change to 4 units. Now, is the logic okay? As the prices are going up, demand for the product will go down. Is the logic okay? Is the logic okay? Right, this is one. Purchasing power will keep on changing whenever the prices will change. And there's a student who is asking, are you talking about purchasing power parity? No, I'm not talking about that. We'll discuss that when I take up international trade. Second reason, people will start substituting the product. People will start substituting the product. Right? For example, I told you, if the price of tea goes up, what will you do? Simple. What will you do? You will replace tea with another product, coffee. Simple. You will replace this product with another product, that is a substitute, coffee. Now, please tell me, as a result of the substitution, what will happen to the demand for tea? The demand for tea automatically will start going down. Automatically will start going down. Right? All of you are okay with these arguments? Right? This is the reason. Right? This is the reason why. Right? Generally, you will see that whenever the prices will change, the demand will also keep on changing. But let me give you, right, because many of you are asking, let me give you certain exception here. Please tell me, if the price of the salt goes down, will you eat more salt? Think of it and answer. Think of it. Very simple. If the price of the salt goes down, will you start eating more salt? Have you seen this? Anywhere have you seen this? Where, right, let's say, right, your spouse is cooking or you are cooking or your parents are cooking, right, they'll say, Tata salt price has come down by 10%. So what we will do now is, because the price has come down by 10%, we will eat 10% more salt. Does it happen like that? No. Right now, can I simply say, right, the idea of a law of demand is not applicable to a product such as salt? Let me know. Right, idea of law of demand is not going to be applicable for salt here, because whatever is the price, people will continue to consume a product such as salt. Can I say the same example is also applicable, the same idea is also applicable to products such as petrol? What about petrol? What about petrol? Right, have you not seen overall, again talk about overall economy? Don't say only, sir, I did this, sir, I did that. Overall economy. Please tell me, if the price of the petrol goes up from 70% to 80, I'm sorry, 70 rupees to 80 rupees, will you reduce the consumption of petrol by 10%? Will you reduce the consumption of petrol by 20%? No. Why? Please understand. There is a term called as essential products. There's a term called as essential product. Don't you think medicines, right? Don't you think salt, petrol, all these are essential for all of us to conduct day-to-day activities, right? All of these are necessary for us, essential for us. So we'll keep on consuming it, right? That is the concept here. That is the argument. So again, I'll repeat it. Don't complicate it, right? Furthermore, right, I've given many more exceptions. Have patience. I will tell you all of them. So law of demand is, can it be applied universally all the time? Not necessary. Not necessary. You cannot apply law of demand universally. But for most of the situations, yes, this is perfectly applicable. Now, before I go forward, there are certain students who are saying, sir, right, and in fact, I'm happy with that kind of a question, although it is not going to be asked in UPSC. Sir, you said price is an independent factor, right? And the demand is a dependent factor. But I am a statistics student, right? I'm from a statistic background. And in statistics, what they have taught me is, right, simple. Whatever is an independent factor, write it along x-axis. Whatever is a dependent factor, write it along y-axis. This is what has been taught to me. But it is not the same case in case of the graphical representation of law of demand. You are absolutely correct. It is not so. Why? For the first time when the law of demand curve was drawn, for the first time when the law of demand curve was drawn, they put price along y-axis and quantity along x-axis. They simply put it and drew and started using the demand curve. And what has happened is, historically, we have continued to do the same thing. Right? We have not changed it. And you're right. And others who are wondering, what is this fellow talking about? Right? What is this along x-axis independent factor, along y-axis dependent factor? Don't worry. It is not relevant to UPSC. Right? So as a traditional concept, it was drawn like this. We have continued to use the same concept. We have not changed it. We have continued to use the same thing. Okay? Can we go forward? Can we go forward with this? Right? This is the argument of law of demand. Any issue so far? When petrol prices higher, people generally avoid using their vehicles. Right? Please understand. Again, I'll repeat it. You are talking about part of the economy. You talk about overall aggregate demand. I repeat, you talk about overall aggregate demand. Okay, overall aggregate demand. Right? So argument is simple. Generally, the demand for petrol does not change by much. Demand for the salt does not change by much. It generally remains on the same line. Okay? In exam, how should we draw? Please draw like this only. Although I don't expect UPSC to ask you in mains about law of demand curve, if they ask you, please draw like this only. Please draw like this only. Okay? Again, don't worry about right x, y, y, x. Please don't worry. Unnecessary. Trust me, we can talk hours and hours together on only demand curve. We can talk hours together. People do PhD thesis on demand. Is it needed for UPSC? Don't waste your time. Limit it, go forward. Okay. Next, law of supply. Okay, there was one more term. Some of you are asking, sir, there is a term ceteris paribus. What is the meaning of it? Ceteris paribus is a Latin term. What is the meaning of the Latin term ceteris paribus? Ceteris paribus simply means other factors will remain unchanged. Have I written the same thing here also? Please do let me know. Ceteris paribus is a Latin term. And what they do, what does it indicate? What does it mean? It simply says, right, if nothing else changes, if everything else remain unchanged, that is what I've written here, right? I'm using the term ceteris paribus because, right, I know some of you will read NCERT after the class. The term ceteris paribus is mentioned in NCERT book. Okay, done. So let me go forward now. Let me go forward. Law of supply. What is this law of supply? Law of supply simply states that as the prices of the good, right, again you can talk about good or a service, don't worry. As the prices of the good goes up, the supply of the commodity will also go up, right, and vice versa. Okay, as the prices of the good goes up, the supply of the commodity, supply, I'm not talking about demand now, supply of the commodity also goes up. That is, in simple terms, can I write it like this? Price and supply are directly proportional. Price and supply are directly proportional. That is, if the prices will go up, supply will go up. And if the prices will go down, supply will go down. This is a law of supply. Now the question is why? Why is that the prices will go, prices will go up, supply also goes up, and prices will go down, supply will also go down. Why does it happen? Reason is simple. Imagine you're a manufacturer. Okay, let me bring your friend back into the picture now. Imagine you're manufacturing this bottle. Now please look at the first statement. Please look at the first statement. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. That is, what is the cost of raw material? Same. What is the labor wages? Same. What is the tax imposed by the government on the bottle? Same. Nothing changes. But if the price of the product, let's say, goes up from 100 to 120 rupees, can I say the amount of profit that you're earning now will automatically go up? Let me know whether this is correct or not. I repeat, imagine you're manufacturing this bottle. Ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus means nothing will change. The taxes imposed by the government remains the same. The subsidy means assistance provided by the government. There's a term called a subsidy here. Subsidy means assistance provided by the government. For example, let me connect it to current affairs and let me see how many of you are reading the newspapers. In recent times, have you come across a term called as FAME initiative? Important, it has come in the newspaper at least, right, 50 times in the last 1 month. Have you read about FAME initiative? FAME simply stands for faster adoption, faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles. Manufacturing of electric vehicles, EVs. Right? A FAME 2 initiative is being implemented by the government. In fact, today's newspaper, Business Line. In Business Line, there is an article on FAME 2 itself. Now have a look at this. Faster adoption and manufacturing of electric vehicles. Now, right, understand how subsidies will have an impact. Imagine you're manufacturing an electric vehicle. I know it doesn't look like electric vehicle, but don't say, sir, where is the wheel? Right, where is the steering wheel? Right, where is the window? Don't ask me. Imagine this is an electric vehicle. The actual cost of the electric vehicle is, let's say, 1,50,000 rupees. Let's say, hypothetical number, 1,50,000 rupees. Now imagine government will give you a subsidy of 20,000 rupees. What is subsidy? Assistance. Right? Right? Assistance is provided by the government. Subsidy is given by the government of 20,000 rupees to you. Now please tell me what will happen to the price of the electric vehicle. If you're the manufacturer, if you get 20,000 rupees from the government, will you increase the price of the electric vehicle or will you decrease the price of the electric vehicle? Prices should decrease. All of you will agree? Any difficulty? Prices should decrease. Does it make sense to you or not? rather than selling it at 1.5, now you will sell it at 1.3 lakh rupees. This is the impact of subsidies given by the government. Impact of subsidies. Now please understand, I will add one more point here. Can I now say that, follow this carefully. Can I now say that if government imposes a taxes, the prices of the products will increase. If the government provides you subsidies, prices should decrease. Any difficulty? Any difficulty in understanding this? If government will provide you subsidies, prices should come down. If government will impose a taxes, prices should go up. Very simple idea. Please remember this. Remember this. Again, we will use this. Again and again, we are going to use these concepts. Now, come back to this. I was discussing bottle manufacturing. So, government is providing subsidy. That will not change. It remains the same. Government is imposing taxes. Doesn't change. Remains the same. Raw material cost remains the same. Everything remains the same. But the market price will go up. Now, can I say because of this, the profit earned by you will go up. And if you're earning profits more and more, will you supply more of the commodity or lesser commodity? Have a look at this. Are you going to supply more or lesser of the commodity? Automatically you will supply more. And please understand this very carefully. Some of you are asking why the prices are going up. My dear, please understand, right? If you have followed the discussion that I'm doing, right, there itself there is a hint. What is a hint? I said ceteris paribus. And when I was explaining other factors, did I talk anything about demand there? Please do let me know. When I was explaining to you what are the other factors here, that is taxes will not change, right? The subsidies will not change, right? The raw material cost will not change, labor wages will not change. I'm simply talking only about factors affecting supply, right? You do not include demand here. Why? The reason why prices are going up in the market is because demand is higher for a commodity in the market. Demand is higher for this commodity in the market. That is the precise reason why, despite other factors remaining same, prices will go up. You start earning more profit, you will start supplying more. And many of you are saying, but sir, if the prices will go up, this will happen, etc. I will explain that also. Have patience. I'll explain that as well. Right? So is the logic of law of supply simple? Right? Is it okay with you? Can I go forward now? How do we represent the law of supply? The law of supply is represented in this kind of a graph, right? Where the line is going upwards. Right? In case of law of demand, it is a downward going line, downward sloping line. In case of law of supply, it is upward sloping line. But please understand, some of you will have this kind of a doubt, which is very valid. Let me explain it. That is, sir, I'll come back to this, don't worry. Sir, you're saying in case of law of demand, right, if the prices go up, demand should go down. But on the other side, when you're talking about law of supply, you say when the prices will go up, supply will go up. But it is basically opposing each other. That is, don't you think when the prices will go up, right, the demand in the market will go down? And if the demand in the market will go down, why will the people supply more? That is exactly what I'll explain now. Focus on this. There is this idea of a market equilibrium. Now, what is this market equilibrium? So far, right, let me know whether I'm telling this correct or not. So far, we have discussed law of demand separately, and we have discussed law of supply separately. We have not mixed both of them. We have discussed both of them independent of each other. But please tell me, don't you think in the market, both the demand and supply will be occurring simultaneously? Let me know. Right? Don't you think the demand and supply both are occurring simultaneously? If there is a demand, there is a supply. It's not that demand is separate and the supply is separate. Both are happening at the same point of time in the market. So now what I'll do, I will take law of demand, law of supply, right? Put it in a same graph. Simply put it in the same graph, right? What is the representation? Have a look at this. The demand curve, right, will be downward sloping, and a supply curve is upward sloping. Now, please go back to your high school. Please go back to your high school. There were classes for coordinate geometry for you. And in the geometry classes, do you remember one statement given by the teacher? The statement is simple. If there are two lines which are not parallel to each other, I repeat, if there are two lines which are not parallel to each other, they will have to cut each other or intersect at one point. Go back, right? Go back to your high school. If there are two lines which are not parallel to each other, they will have to cut each other. They will have to intersect at one point. This is the point of intersection. This is the point of intersection. And this point of intersection is called as market equilibrium. Simple. This point of intersection, right, it is called as market equilibrium. Now, what do you mean by market equilibrium here? Market equilibrium simply refers to a situation in the market where the quantity of goods sold is equal to quantity of goods demanded. Simple idea, right? What is the situation? Why this is called as a market equilibrium? Market equilibrium refers to a situation in the market where whatever goods are demanded in terms of quantity, same quantity is being supplied in the market. For example, if the demand is for 100 units, if the demand is for 100 units, in the market, 100 units are getting supplied. And because, right, a demand is equal to supply, will simply refer to this situation as a market equilibrium. And please understand, the price at which we attain market equilibrium, it is the price which is acceptable. The price which is acceptable to both buyer and seller. The buyer is happy to give this price to purchase that quantity, and the seller is also okay with getting this price for selling this much amount of a quantity. This is called as a market equilibrium. This is called as market equilibrium, right? And this price is called as clearing price. This price is referred to as a clearing price. The price at which we attain market equilibrium, it is called as a, right, clearing price. Clearing price means what? If you are selling 100 units, all the 100 units will be purchased. Clearing price. But what happens in the market? What happens in the market is there are various factors that are very much dynamic in nature. Factors which are very much dynamic in nature. That is, when we discussed law of demand and supply, and please go back and remember this. When we discussed law of demand and supply, we simply assumed, right? We simply assumed all the factors are remaining unchanged. In law of demand, nothing will change. In law of supply, nothing will change. Only prices will change. But don't you think in reality there are so many factors that will keep on changing in the market? As a result of this, what generally happens is, please understand, there can be two positions. Apart from market equilibrium, there can be two more positions in the market. One is called as a surplus situation in the market, and second one is called as a shortage situation in the market. That is, what is the idea of a surplus? What is the idea of a shortage? Surplus situation in the market will arrive when the demand will go up. Understand now. Many of you are asking, sir, right, demand is going up, right, prices are going down, right, doesn't make any sense. It should make sense now. Imagine the demand goes up, and when the demand goes up, prices will also go up. All of you will agree? When the demand goes up, prices will go up, right? And when people will start realizing that the prices are increasing now, prices simply increasing now, what will happen to the demand? What will happen to the demand? When people will realize, okay, prices have increased, right? Automatically, the demand will start going down. But on the other hand, when the prices have gone up, if you are a supplier, in order to earn more profit, you will supply more. So, as a result of this, what will happen? Understand this carefully. Understand this carefully. Imagine this is the quantity. This was the original quantity at equilibrium point. Whatever the number, don't worry. Right? Whatever could be the number. This was the demand. Now, when the prices will go up, what should happen to the demand? Demand automatically will start going down. Right? I'll write it as Q1. Right? Earlier, this was a clearing price. Now, the prices, imagine, have gone up to P1. Now, as the prices have gone up, what should happen to the demand? Demand should go down, Q1. And as the prices have gone up, what should happen to supply? Supply should increase to Q2. Now, please have a look at it. At price P1, which is higher than clearing price. Price P1, which is higher than clearing price, right? The demand in the market, can I say, it is lower than what is being supplied in the market? Think of it. Please look at the picture and tell me. When the price will go up from P to P1, what will happen to the demand? Demand will go down to Q1. Supply will go up to Q2. Right? This is called as a surplus situation. That is, in simple terms, demand is lesser, supply is more than demand. Now, please tell me, if supply is very high compared to demand, supply is very high compared to demand, what should happen to market prices? Right? Look at it and please do let me know. If supply is higher compared to the demand, what should happen to market prices? Market prices will start falling down. Any problem here? Market prices should start falling down. This is actually what happens in reality. In market, this is exactly what happens. On the other side, right, let's say prices will go down. On the other side, let's say prices will go down. From P, let's say prices will fall to P2. Now, when the prices will go down, please tell me what should happen to the demand for the commodity. Demand for the commodity will start increasing. But on the other side, what will happen to supply? Supply will start coming down. So now have a look at it. At price P2, supply is this much. That is